Chapter 180. Advance to the top 50 in the rankings in the north of the competition space. A red-clothed man sat cross-legged in an upper room of an inn in a large city. He slowly opened his eyes, took out his dark purple jade tablet, saw a name on the point rankings continuously advancing upwards, and his lips curled up. Who is Lu Muyen? Never heard of Yinzhou Kingdom either. Seeing the name advance into the top 100, his calm eyes didn't change much. A person from a small kingdom advancing up into the top 100 on the first day, interesting. Then he held the jade tablet in his hand, closed his eyes, and didn't put too much thought into the point rankings. Lu Muyan's flash step was extremely fast, plus many demonic beasts saw her powerful lethality, where none of the demonic beasts who landed in her hands could escape. So although they were furious, but they were also extremely fearful, and didn't dare to take the initiative to sneak attack. Seeing that her ranking had already advanced into the top 100, she slowed down the killing of demonic beasts. It was better to keep a low profile on the first day. All the crystal cores of the sweet-scented osmanthus beasts were with attributes, which could be used to refine a very useful elemental energy nurturing pill. So she didn't let free of herself and kill indiscriminately, but instead specifically searched for sweet-scented osmanthus beasts to kill. The sweet-scented osmanthus beasts around were all tier 5, and had gained intelligence. Seeing that human women kill their own kind, they were initially madly angered. They raised their heads and screamed, gathering all the surrounding sweet-scented osmanthus beasts to attack her. Yet who would have thought that it was precisely to her heart's desire? More than 10 advanced phase and peak phase, tier 5 demonic beasts besieged her, and it was also exhausting for her to use the most primitive attack methods to attack. Seeing that she was already far away from the city wall, and this area was shrouded in darkness, making it so that the people looking from over there wouldn't be able to see her clearly. With a thought, a golden longsword flew out from her waist. She moved her fingers, bombarding the sweet-scented osmanthus beasts that were biting towards her, while mouthing some words at the same time. Then her red lips spit out one word. Separate. Let's take a look at the power of my natal magic tool today, Lu Muyen said to herself, and used her mental energy to control her natal magic tool. The golden longsword hovering in the air instantly scattered into 10 small swords, forming a golden cyclone one after another, heading directly towards the sweet-scented osmanthus beasts besieging her. Ew! Screams rang out one after another. The golden cyclones were like meat grinders. The demonic beasts it passed were slayed one after another, their corpses penetrated by the small swords as it brought out the crystal cores to drop into Lu Muyan's hands. She looked at the force created by her natal magic tool with satisfaction. It wasn't that she was cruel. These demonic beasts were very fierce and ruthless. If she wasn't careful, and was bitten by them, then she'd definitely be ripped apart and devoured. So she had no sympathy for these demonic beasts, who took the initiative to attack a human city. What should be killed she would kill. This was the law of survival for cultivators. After killing the nearby sweet-scented osmanthus beasts, she didn't act again, and instead mobilized her flash steps, maneuvering around within the beast tide. Suddenly, the points on her jade tablet increased sharply, 20 points at once, and then her ranking flew up to 62nd. She felt that it seemed like she played a little too big today. It wasn't good to be so high profile on the first day. It would be very troublesome if she attracted the attention of the geniuses of the big kingdoms. Mo Yen, around enough is good enough. My points have already exceeded my limit. Let's keep a low profile. Lu Muyen telepathically communicated to Mo Yen. An increase of 20 points definitely must have been obtained from Mo Yen, killing a tier 6 demonic beast. In the continental tournament for hegemony, one could bring their own spirit pets to fight, and the battle records of the spirit pets would also be counted to their owner. So when Mo Yin killed demonic beasts, her points would increase accordingly. These two little vermin keep on following me. I'll come back after killing them. Mo Yan's voice telepathically replied. The corner of Lu Muyan's lips twitched. Seeing that there was only a difference of 39 points between the 62nd place and 50th place, it seemed that it would be impossible to not be in the limelight this time. Sure enough, not long later, the rankings on the point rankings changed again. Lu Muyen increased by 40 points, pushing the 50th person down, successfully breaking into the top 50 of the rankings. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, some of the leading high-level demonic beasts were killed by Mo Yen, while the remaining two saw that the situation wasn't favorable. So they instantly roared a few times, turned, and shot towards the deep mountains in the distance. At this time, the sky not far away also revealed a trace of white light. The night was about to be replaced by morning light. Lu Muyan's eyes fluctuated, then quickly recalled Mo Yen and Bing Ji, and moved towards the city wall. When she jumped onto the city wall, the demonic beasts below all roared with bloodshot eyes, then finally turned around unwillingly, heading towards the deep mountains in the distance. The beast tide came quickly and left quickly. When the sky was slightly lit up, all the demonic beasts below the city had retreated, leaving only piles of demonic beast corpses, and the smell of blood filling the entire city. A ray of sunlight broke through the sky and shot down directly, perfectly scattering on the position where Lu Muyen was standing. The wind fluttered her purple dress, and her ink-like hair tied with a thin ribbon flowed freely. Her entire body was as if it were enveloped in a layer of warm golden light, her figure peerlessly gorgeous, giving people a mysterious, graceful feel. Her peerless and delicate facial features appeared much softer in the warm light, forming a visual contrast with the deadly, cold woman who rushed into the group of beasts to kill, making people unable to fathom. And her name also appeared as a talent to pay attention to on lists belonging to sword masters from each kingdom. Who wasn't an amazing, sensational person to have advanced into the top 50 on the first day? Although the well-known and admired figures like Mo Ling and Yin Jun were also objects of attention, but it was only a matter of course for them to have entered the top 50. The names Yinzhou Kingdom, Lu Muyen were extremely unfamiliar to the sword masters from superpower kingdoms and many large, medium, and small kingdoms. Whether she was the dark horse this time could only be known at the end. Therefore, Lu Muyan's name only got some notice and attention, but was not included on the list of priorities to pay attention to. If Lu Muyen knew this, she definitely would feel that she was extremely wise. If she killed a few more demonic beasts and advanced into the top 10 of the rankings, it would mean endless trouble. Of course, during the last few days, she naturally didn't mind being high profile. After all, the reward for advancing into the top 10 were identity jade tablets, which gave a greater guarantee for the second round. Yenner, you're too impulsive. Lu Mubei's tone was reproachful, but the doting look in his eyes didn't subside. Lu Muyen jumped down from the very top of the city wall and hugged his arm, acting spoilt as she said, "Eldest brother, it's because I'm well aware of the situation, so I dare to go. I cherish my little life very much. If Grandpa and Dad are here, they'd definitely be frightened sick by you." Lu Mubai tapped the tip of her nose in amusement. "How could that be? Their hearts are very strong." Yin Ziemo put away the longsword in his hand with appreciation in his eyes. "Congratulations on advancing into the top 50 of the rankings. But I don't want to be so high profile at all." Lu Muyen revealed some helplessness on her face and shrugged. She indeed wanted to earn points and collect crystal cores, but she really didn't want to be so high profile at the beginning. She still liked to amass wealth while keeping a low profile. The people who were close to them rolled their eyes speechlessly. She didn't want to be so high profile, but still rushed into the beast tide to kill. And that look of dislike when she heard her point rankings, it truly made them want to vomit blood. They sure wanted to be high profile, but they just couldn't be high profile. This woman truly was a freak. Translated product by May Arcum True. Chapter 181. You pierce through the heavens. While all accompany you, only those who had seen Lu Muyen jump into the beast tide and kill with ghostly maneuvers understood just how violent this woman was. Especially her body that was comparable to that of a demonic beast. It truly attracted the envy of countless people. Of course, there weren't only those who were envious. There were also many who were red-eyed with jealousy. And there were even some who considered snatching the body refining method from her. On Tianling continent, body refining methods were extremely rare, and could even be considered non-existent. But as long as one obtained one, Their future achievements were absolutely unlimited. Under the complicated gazes of countless people, Lu Muyin returned to the inn to rest with Yin Zmo and the others. After busying for half a night, they prepared to rest a day, then travel to the next city. In addition to killing a certain number of demonic beasts to get points during the preliminary round of the Continental Tournament for Hegemony, the participants must also arrive at the largest city, Wind Thunder City in the central area, within a specified time frame. If they didn't arrive in time, then it would be considered renouncing their qualifications to continue the competition, regardless of which assembly point the person teleported in from. They were all at the edge of the competition space, very far from the central area. Therefore, they must kill demonic beasts to collect points while traveling without a break. After their figures disappeared on the city wall, the five went into a corner, where no one was around to discuss countermeasures. Boss, although that woman's only at middle phase Sword King cultivation base, but her combat power is very strong. Do we still besiege and kill them after we leave the city? The feminine-looking man asked thoughtfully. The yellow-clothed woman beside revealed some ridicule in her eyes. Didn't you find that she survived the beast tide last night based on 2 points? What 2 points? 1 is her footwork that's as fast as a ghost, and 2 is the toughness of her body that's comparable to that of a demonic beast. The yellow-clothed woman raised 2 fingers and asked softly, "Are you all not interested at all in her footwork and the body-refining method?" She didn't believe that these few people wouldn't desire that woman's footwork and the body-refining method. She advocated being delicate and beautiful, while cruelty and ruthlessness needed to remain inside. But she also hoped that her bodice toughness could be comparable to demonic beasts, as that represented strength and combat power. The feminine man narrowed his eyes, hesitated, then said, "Naturally I desire it." She relied on her tough physique and footwork to flexibly roam around and kill among the demonic beast, but it isn't necessarily useful against us. The grim, uncertain expression of the tall, big man was replaced by decisiveness. If we don't get rid of them, they will definitely become a big concern. If we really can't compete with them, we all have means of escape, so what's there to hesitate? What's more, our overall strength is much stronger than theirs. We'll stay in the city to rest for now, and as soon as they leave the city, we'll get rid of them. The tall, big man made a gesture of cutting his neck. Among them, there were 2 sword monarchs and 3 peak-phase sword kings, and they also came from a middle-sized kingdom. How could they be easily shocked by the performance of the woman last night, and not dare carry out the original plan? Most importantly, they needed to obtain that woman's footwork and body-refining method no matter what. "Boss, do we need to send a message to the other team of the Empire?" The man who constantly kept a smile asked. The tall, big man gritted his teeth and said, "For the time being, no need. I'll first record the news of those people. If there are changes, then we'll send the news over. After all, my relationship with that eldest brother isn't very good. It's good to be prepared." They took turns to monitor Lu Muyen and their group's every movement, while the others meditated and recovered, waiting to attack. In a room of the inn, Lu Muyen picked out the demonic beast crystal cores that could be used to refine pills, then tossed the rest to her few spirit pets to devour and refine. However, most of the crystal cores went into Meow Meow's stomach. After all, Tier 5 demonic beast crystal cores weren't so useful to the other 3 demonic beasts, especially Bingji. He didn't get a single one. After restoring her body to its peak state, night fell again, but this night was extremely calm. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Early the next morning, the several people met in the lobby of the inn and left the city together. "A lot of people are watching us today," Yinlan said with furrowed brows. Lu Muyin also discovered that. She apologized. "Apologies. It seems that I caused you all some unnecessary trouble." It seemed that many people probably wanted to contend for her body-refining method. She had no intention of dragging the other 5 people into the water with her, but she didn't regret what she did last night, and she wouldn't be able to bring herself to do things in a cowardly manner even more. If the other people besides her elder brother felt that she was a drag to them, then she would act alone. Apologize for what? We chose to participate in the continental tournament for hegemony, which means infinite trouble and danger. If we can't even deal with these petty schemers, then how can we speak of rushing into the top 100? The look in Yunlan's eyes was serious, and he didn't think that there was anything wrong with Lu Muyan's behavior last night. When one should show off, then one should be high profile. So what if others were fiery-eyed with desire? Yun Zmo looked askance at her and said, "Put away your thoughts of acting alone. Even if you pierce through the heavens, well, I'll accompany you to carry it one. To be able to be high profile in the tournament for hegemony, that's also a nice experience. Do whatever you want, we'll accompany you to the end." An elegant smile spread on Fu Chen's face, but his tone was full of domineering. Qi Yixian had his own little feelings for Lu Muyan, so he just wanted to indulge her. If one of those people come, well, kill one. If a pair comes, well, kill a pair. You can just let free and play. They already said everything I want to say, Lu Mubai said with a helpless smile in his eyes. Lu Muyan just had a restless temperament. Wherever she went, she would stir up foul winds and make it rain blood too. Even if she didn't find trouble herself, trouble would take the initiative to deliver itself to her door. They were all willing to accompany her to play until the end. Lu Muyan really didn't expect these people to not only not blame her, but to even let her continue to get into trouble. It was just that the little plan in her heart had also completely dissipated. Since the 5 people believed in her like this, then she also couldn't let them down. If one chose to participate in the continental tournament for hegemony, then how could one not demonstrate their skills? If one didn't want to play, then don't come. If one wanted to play, then they must play big. Alright, just pretend I didn't say that just now. Lu Muyan's brows were dyed with warmth. But don't blame me for not reminding you all. If we want to play, then we need to play something exciting. When that time comes, don't be cowering and be afraid to free your hands and feet. This woman really had no heart to be well behaved. After they left the city, many people followed, but they didn't do anything. After walking for about an hour, they left the plains near the city and entered a dense forest, which was the only way to get to the central area. Lu Muyan's ears moved slightly, looked at a big tree not far away, and smiled lightly. "I'll come out. It must have been hard for you to wait here for so long." As soon as her voice fell, 5 people jumped down from the big tree. Precisely the people who clashed with them in the city. "It seems that you already can't wait to die." The tall, big man took a step forward, his eyes filled with killing intent. The other 4 quickly separated and surrounded the 6. The yellow-clothed woman said with a soft smile, "Remember not to touch that woman's face. I still want to peel it off to make a human skin mask." "Sure, after we play them to death, that face skin is yours." The unscrupulous words of the few people completely aroused the killing intent in the hearts of Lu Mubai and the others. Lu Muyan glanced at the yellow-clothed woman casually. She couldn't resist revealing a faint smile. She had lived 2 lives, and it sure was the first time someone wanted to peel her face off and make a human skin mask. Interesting. Come true. Chapter 182. Resolve. The people who followed Lu Muyan and her group quietly saw that the 2 parties were about to fight, so they immediately hid their figures to watch the battle. Maybe they would even be able to perform a when the snipe and clam grapple. The fisherman benefits. "I'll deal with this chick. You all go quickly kill the other people." The tall, big man gave the 4 of them a look, and a long scarlet saber appeared in his hand. The other 4 nodded and looked at Lu Mubai and the others with unkind gazes. Yun Zmo faced the Sword Emperor. Yun Lan and Qi Yixian faced the yellow-clothed woman. Lu Mubai faced the feminine man and Fu Chen faced the last pink-clothed woman. The battle was imminent. The tall, big man didn't have the heart of showing pity and tender care for Jade. He channeled elemental energy into his scarlet, long saber, and swung it down towards Lu Muyan. The red sword light was dazzling in the sky, turning into a circular arc that flew out, stabbing straight towards Lu Muyan's heart. Lu Muyan's eyes were filled with coldness, but she didn't dodge. She pulled out a golden soft sword from her waist, channeled a trace of spiritual energy with the green sea of mist into it, then waved it gently. A round of golden crescent moons poured out like a rich display of lights, merging with the scarlet sword light. Instantly, a dazzling light burst out from within the entire forest. The energy from the collision between the two spread very far away, as the surrounding trees broke and collapsed one after another. The scarlet sword light was annihilated in the light while the golden crescent moon burst through the air, heading directly towards the tall, big man. After the dazzling light passed, Lu Muyan's face remained indifferent, and her clothes were in perfect condition, while the tall, big man opposite was in ragged clothes with a trace of blood left on his mouth. His eyes carried horror. Saint tool. You actually have a saint tool. The reason why Lu Muyan used her natal magic tool was because 1. She wanted to try its power again, and 2. She wanted to fight quickly and finish quickly. So what if it's true? It's a pity you don't have the life to enjoy using it. Lu Muyan sneered when she saw the greed in the other's eyes. She turned her attention to the rear, and saw that Lu Mubai and the other's battles weren't that easy to win. After all, the opponent was from a medium-sized kingdom, so they couldn't possibly not have some trump cards. Mo Yen, go and help battle quickly, finish quickly, more people are coming towards us. Although Lu Muyan's mental energy was still dormant, but she could still feel the auras approaching. Mo Yan's indifferent eyes didn't even reveal the slightest fighting intent. In his eyes, those few people who were about to become a few corpses were nothing to worry about. Roar! A demonic beast roar resounded throughout the forest. With the pressure of a royal race demonic beast spreading throughout the dense forest, his roar contained a sonic attack, and those who were peeping all felt dizzy. The several people in the battle circle were also distracted by this sonic attack. His body suddenly grew several times larger, and the flame-like mark on his forehead appeared lifelike. He leapt up and landed straight in front of Lu Mubai. Then he stretched out his claws, slapped, and the currently confused feminine man flew out backwards, spurting a few mouthfuls of blood. Immediately after that, he swept his tail, and it landed heavily on the flying body of the other party. His heart and lungs were shattered, and the feminine man immediately lost his aura after falling to the ground. The others woke from the sound waves, and what entered their eyes was the appearance of the man falling to the ground and bleeding to death. They all revealed panic. In just a few breaths of time, that woman's demonic beast actually killed one of their people. The several people suddenly had the intention of retreating. Body refining methods were nice, but they also needed to have a life to take it. The tall big man's heart trembled, although he had some means, but the other party had a saint tool, and also such a powerful tier 6 demonic beast. He could only escape. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Seeing the tall, big man looking anxious, moving as if to retreat, with a thought, Lu Muyan's golden longsword was divided into 10 small swords, and she mouthed a few words. With a point of her fingers, several talisman seals condensed in mid-air, flew to the very top, then finally formed a jade-colored talisman belt, surrounding everyone within the battle circle. Quick! She let out a soft exclamation. The 10 flying swords hummed, lined up in a horizontal line, then flew towards the tall, big man who had already turned and fled towards the deep forest. Feeling the threat from the rear, the tall, big man took out a big cauldron to block him from behind. His figure dashed out, but was then heavily bounced back. You want to escape in the array I arranged? Go die. Lu Muyan's eyes were sharp. The 10 flying swords penetrated the cauldron and shot straight at the tall, big man. The man's pupils constricted, and immediately crushed a transparent ball of light in his hand. A stream of light flew towards the deep mountains in the distance, disappearing instantly. Don't kill me. I surren. The tall, big man's voice stuck halfway, his eyes open wide, filled with disbelief. How could this be? He, a sword master at initial phase sword monarch, was actually killed by a woman at middle phase sword king this quickly. He really shouldn't have tried to snatch the keys to the rooms at the beginning. His regretful expression dissipated little by little, together with his aura. Boss. The pink-clothed woman was also slapped to death by Mo Yen, while the smiling man and the yellow-clothed woman revealed terror in their eyes when they saw that their leader was killed by Lu Muyan. Wasn't this woman's combat power too exaggerated? The two looked at each other, then ran for their lives in different directions. But how could Yun Zmo and the others, along with Mo Yen, let them escape? Mo Yen chased the yellow-clothed woman, waved his paw in the air, then a black plum blossom, shaped one palm print slapped directly at the woman's back. Pew! The woman spat out a few mouthfuls of blood, then sped up her steps to escape, but was blocked by Lu Muyan's jade-colored talisman belt. You can't kill me. We're from the EC Empire, and there's still a team of people who are much stronger than us. If you kill me, they won't let you all go. The woman turned around and looked at Lu Muyan and the others, saying unreconciled. The smiling man was already surrounded and killed by Yun Zmo and the others. Lu Muyan walked to the yellow-clothed woman, as if leisurely strolling through a courtyard, raised an eyebrow and said, "Aren't you going to peel my face off to make a human skin mask?" The yellow-clothed woman had long lost her previous imposing manner. Her body softened and said pitifully and softly, "I just wanted to threaten you a bit earlier. As long as you guys don't kill me, I'll listen to anything you all say." Bing Ji shook the feathers on his body and said with a look of disgust, "Owner, this ugly woman is so disgusting, hurry up and kill her." "What did your leader crush just now?" Lu Muyan looked at Bing Ji amusedly, then looked at the woman and asked, though she had a guess in her heart. "It's an array ball that reports messages. As long as it's crushed, the message can be sent out. He's reporting the message to our other team of people." The yellow-clothed woman hated inwardly, but still said with softness and meekness. Lu Muyan lowered her head and pondered for a little, then walked to the yellow-clothed woman, pinched her chin, and fed a drug into her mouth. "What did you give me to eat?" The woman wanted to dig out the drug, but the drug melted in her mouth the moment it entered. She looked at Lu Muyan with a trace of fear in her eyes and asked. Lu Muyan blinked and said with a smile, "Good stuff." Then she ignored the yellow-clothed woman and looked sharply at a part of the dense forest not far away. If those people dared to come up to seek death, she wouldn't mind also sending them off. Seeing that there weren't any movements, she called to Yun Zmo and the others, then quickly left the place, leaving behind the currently terrified, yellow-clothed woman with constantly changing expressions and no confidence in heart. "Lu Muyan, why didn't you kill her?" Fu Chen asked in confusion after walking for a while. Come true one plum blossom shape is usually how the Chinese describe the paw pad prints of cats or big cats, like tigers etc., or a cute little Mo Yen. Cute. Note: I think I'll take this chance to just go back to one-day chapters. Got sick yesterday, feeling better now. But also school is about to start at the end of next week, and I need to start preparing stuff XD. So one day at 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time for now. Chapter 183. Temporarily avoid revealing their abilities. Lu Muyan, why didn't you kill her? I'm deliberately keeping her to report. The leading man already passed our news out using an array ball, and we don't even know who the enemy is. Instead of letting them hide in the dark, might as well use that woman as bait to fish them out. Lu Muyan knew that killing those people would surely provoke the anger of the other team of the opponent's kingdom, but if they didn't kill them, then the other party wouldn't let them go either, so they could only continue to make enemies. What did you feed that ugly woman? Yun Lan asked with a smile. A type of slow-performing poison pill. After taking it, her face will gradually be covered in blue lines, and she will age very quickly. Her cultivation base will also halt, then she will gradually die. A coldness flashed past Lu Muyan's eyes. She had ideas about my face and paid most attention to her own face. It would be too unkind of me not to repay her. In her spare time before, she refined several kinds of poison pills, which were specifically designed to deal with those who were scheming and vicious. But she just didn't expect that on the second day after entering here, she would have to use one of the types of pills. The several people couldn't help revealing a bit of a smile. Such a repayment would probably make that woman's life worse than death. Lu Muyan, isn't your combat power too powerful? You didn't spend much effort to kill that sword monarch cultivation base leader. After Fu Chen familiarized himself with everyone, he also gradually said more. Lu Muyan's cultivation base was only middle phase sword king, But the combat power she displayed could probably kill sword masters of middle phase, sword monarch cultivation base, and above. After all, her means haven't all been exhausted. Actually, the reason why I won so quickly just now was mainly because the other party underestimated the enemy, plus the sudden attack of my spirit pet, which deterred him, and he wanted to escape without using his trump cards. That's why he died so quickly. Lu Muyen wasn't being humble. At first, the tall, big man felt that he would definitely win her, so he slightly belittled. When she used her natal magic tool, he was then intimidated, and then he was completely deterred by Mo Yan's power. That person only wanted to escape, so she had a chance to take advantage of it. Otherwise, if he really used his trump cards one by one, she definitely would never have won so easily. Of course, although her own cultivation base was one stage lower than the opponent, but ever since she comprehended the water element to a new height, plus the power of her natal magic tool, without using her trump cards, her comprehensive strength was already comparable to an average advanced phase sword monarch. It wouldn't be difficult to kill a man who was only at initial phase sword monarch. That's true. They underestimated the enemy from the beginning. Fu Chen nodded, and his gaze moved to Mo Yan on Lu Muyan's shoulder, clearly having some lingering fears at the power the fire cloud mink displayed earlier. Qi Yixian knew that this spirit pet of Lu Muyan's was won from an auction, but he didn't expect this demonic beast to have reached tier 6 strength in such a short period of time. It truly was incredible. Could he not be a fire cloud mink? Muyan, your spirit pet is advancing so fast. He couldn't help but sigh with emotion. Lu Muyan raised an eyebrow and joked. His owner, I am a genius, so he naturally can't be too far behind. Her joking remarks also avoided Qi Yixian's words. Was there such a way to praise oneself? I wonder how strong the other team of the EC Empire is. Yin Lan said with a solemn expression. Definitely much stronger than these rabble. Lu Muyan saw that Yin Ziemo obviously knew about the EC Empire and asked him, how is the EC Empire's national strength? The cultivation bases of the few people they killed were mostly piled up with pills. They had a cruel temperament and used ruthless methods. They were probably arrogant pupils raised by distinguished clans, and the other team probably felt disdain towards them, so they acted separately. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, of course. Disdain for this team didn't mean that they could tolerate them being killed. Getting into trouble was inevitable. The EC Empire is a large kingdom in the western region. It ranks in the middle of the entire Tianling continent's rankings, and is much stronger than Yanzhou Kingdom. That's why they don't take us seriously. Yin Zimo's expression was obscure as he answered. Lu Muyan smiled and teased. Who do you think will take us seriously? The red jade tablet in our hands means that we're soft peaches. Hurry up and come squeeze us. Pfft. After hearing her words, their originally heavy hearts gradually lightened. Then, according to the strength of the EC Empire, how many places are they allocated? Lu Muyan asked. 11. Their other team should be an elite group of 6. Yun Ziemo paused, then said. In each region, the large kingdom's forces are very intricate and complex, so the places to participate in the continental tournament for hegemony couldn't have been allocated like Yanzhou Kingdom. Under the pressure of the empire's imperial family and distinguished clans, they will also allow a number of places to be given to other clans' pupils to make up for the numbers, just like the 5 earlier. But they would also carefully select an elite team to compete for the top 100. If we encounter elite teams from large and medium-sized kingdoms, then there is currently 0 chance of winning. So that's how it is. No wonder that in the previous refuge city, I felt that a portion of the people weren't as strong as I thought they would be. So it's because they entered the competition through connections. Lu Muyan rubbed her chin as she said. Lu Mubei's light eyes darkened. Even if they came in through connections, but it also means their own strength isn't that bad. Otherwise it'd be impossible to be sent by their empires to participate in such a competition. We still have to hurry up to improve our strength. That way, if we meet the other team of the EC Empire, we would be able to deal with them. His words touched the bottom of everyone's heart. They were the genius leaders of the younger generation of the empire, when they were in Yinzhou Kingdom. But it wasn't enough here. The strength of a random group of people even just looked stronger than them. Sword monarch powerhouses were everywhere. They all had their own trump cards, but others might have stronger trump cards. If they weren't careful, they might be the ones who fall here. How did the people of Yinzhou Kingdom advance to above 2,000th? Lu Muyen only found out that there were tens of thousands of talented sword masters. For a small kingdom like Yinzhou, let alone top 100, even entering top 3,000th was a good result. Yun Zimo's cold, handsome face was in a daze for a moment before realizing what she meant, then replied with a light smile. I heard that they hid in a secretive mountain forest to cultivate during the preliminary round. Only after they advanced their cultivation bases did they come out to kill demonic beasts to score points. This method is actually used by many sword masters from small and medium-sized kingdoms. After all, as long as they weren't at a refuge city, in the wild, as long as sword masters met and fought, then the organizer wouldn't care about their life or death. He added. Lu Muyan's eyes lit up. She pointed at the mountain ahead of her and said, that could be considered a good way. Let's also go to a hidden place deep in the mountain to cultivate for a month before going out. Their team was indeed quite weak. If they encountered the other elite team of the EC Empire, they would probably lose a few people. It was better to temporarily avoid revealing their abilities and wait until they have the ability to fight back to act. The spiritual force in this competition space was abundant, and they could even directly absorb and refine demonic beast crystal cores. She could also refine a few types of pills that could improve cultivation bases for the others to take, and after they come out in a month's time, it would definitely be a different scene. If there wasn't enough time, then she could just get Bing Ji to transform and fly over directly. Alright, well listen to you. Yun Zmo and the others pondered a little, then agreed to her proposal. It would take half a month for them to travel nonstop to the central area from here. It was still feasible for them to take a month to improve their cultivation base. After negotiating, the several people flew towards the thickly forested mountains not far away. Chapter 184. Hide in the mountains. When Lu Muyen and the others arrived at the foot of the remote mountains, the entire forested mountain was enveloped by mist, and the scenery inside was sometimes visible, sometimes not, giving people a sense of mysteriousness. The remote mountain forest was not an area that must be passed to travel to the central area, but it was a good place to hunt demonic beasts. The map in the Jade Tablet categorized this area as Class 3 Danger Area. We haven't seen any sword masters enter along the way either. We need to be careful. Yun Zmo looked at the remote mountain ahead of them and said, in the competition space, there were 3 types of danger areas, namely Class 1, Class 2 and Class 3. Class 1 was the most dangerous, while Class 3 was relatively less dangerous. But for it to be marked on the map in the Jade Tablet by the organizer meant that it still definitely wasn't that simple. Lu Muyen took out a few sachets and handed them to the others. Wear this. There's some medicinal powder in it that can help guard against venomous snakes and insects. The more dangerous the place, the safer it is. Not many sword masters enter here. Let's find a secret place to hide and cultivate. Lu Muyen turned around and said to them, follow me well. Mo Yen, lead the way. Lu Muyen poked Mo Yan's body and said with a smile. Mo Yan's cold eyes revealed a bit of helplessness. He, a dignified king with his own territory in the demon realm, was often ordered around by this woman. Even if he told other demons, they might not even believe him. But he didn't hesitate either. He jumped off Lu Muyen's shoulder and headed into the remote mountain. Lu Muyen and the others followed closely behind. They still believed in the ability of this spirit pet of hers. All the way up the mountain, they didn't encounter a single demonic beast, led by Mo Yen to avoid them. Should we kill some demonic beasts to earn points along the way? Qi Yixian asked as they walked. Lu Muyen didn't turn her head back and said, we can't. Once the killing begins, it'll attract the attention of the high-level demonic beasts deep in the mountains. Our cultivation plan wouldn't be able to be implemented then. That's right. I didn't think it through carefully. Qi Xian pressed his lips together and said. Lu Muyen turned to look at him and said, "No problems, we can kill when we come out." The several people hid their auras and rushed through the mountains without rest. They encountered venomous snakes and ants. But when those approached, it was as if they smelt something they feared and avoided them in horror. Lu Muyan's sachets were highly credited for that. These sachets were also prepared by her before she came. The spiritual force in this remote mountain was much denser than outside, and just walking in the mountains was refreshing. Mo Yen, can you feel the level of the king in this mountain? Lu Muyen didn't communicate telepathically, and asked in front of the several people. Mo Yen walked in front. There are 3 Tier 7 demonic beasts here, each occupying their own territory. As long as we don't set foot on their core territory, we'll be fine. Are there any spiritual herbs nearby? Lu Muyen knew that Mo Yan's nose was very powerful, and that he had the innate talent to find spiritual herbs and spiritual items. Mo Yan glanced at her lightly. Naturally, there are spiritual herbs and spiritual items here, but many are guarded by demonic beasts. If you want to beat the grass and alert the snake, then I won't stop you. Lu Muyen glared at him in amusement. We can cultivate, come out, then go rob them a bit. Her mental energy had been dormant the entire time, although this was the foreshadowing of its evolution. But if it took too long, it could affect the display of her combat power. So she hoped to find some spiritual herbs to stimulate her mental energy. We're almost there. Mo Yen was now a Tier 6 demonic beast, but his demonic sense was at the pinnacle of this interface, so the general situation in this remote mountain was already in his mind. After walking for another hour, the few people emerged from the lush, primitive, remote forest. What they saw was a large waterfall, and below the waterfall was a deep pond. The spiritual force here was even more abundant and denser than outside. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, this place had beautiful scenery, a quiet environment, and abundant spiritual force. It was perfect for cultivation. This place looks very good. So how are there no demonic beasts occupying it? Lu Muyen looked at Mo Yen and asked. Mo Yen walked to a tree that had withered and fell to the ground, looked at it casually and said, "There should have been a demonic beast occupying this place before, but who knows why it doesn't appear anymore. Either it died or it went out. What if it comes back? Naturally, either we keep it here or we chase it away." Mo Yen raised his eyes, as if saying your questions were very boring. Lu Muyen shrugged and looked around. After thinking about it, she took out an array flag from her interspatial ring and 4 jade sculptures of the 4 divine beasts that she had nurtured. She pinched her fingers, then buried it in the ground at the 4 locations of east, south, west and north, and planted the array flag in the middle of the array. Her hands were constantly dancing like butterfly wings, and jade-colored void talismans came out of her palms one by one, landing around the array. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew past, enveloping the surroundings near the waterfall with a veil of mist. What kind of array is this? Yun Ziemo found that this array could block the penetration of mental energy, and it even had the effect of concealing one's aura, so he couldn't resist asking. The combination of the 4 symbols killing array and the 4 symbols illusory array. Lu Muyen retracted her hands and said, "As long as there are demonic beasts and people passing by, what they'll see is not a waterfall, but an abandoned mountain range. Forceful entry will have them receive the bombardment of the 4 symbols killing array." Her tone was very light, but it shocked the others. They didn't expect that Lu Muyen's array attainments had already reached such a level. Such an array was probably something that could only be arranged by a grade 3 array master or higher. In the past, the demonic beast's cave was in the waterfall. You can use its, or you can create a separate one. Mo Yen stared at the center of the waterfall and said, "Let's go in for a look." Lu Muyen had a smile on her lips. She tapped her toes and flew into the waterfall. The others followed suit and flew in. There was a large cave in the depths of the waterfall. The cave was very dry, and the layout was very simple. There was also a cave within the cave, which was probably the den of the demonic beast. Looking at a large piece of snakeskin that had fallen off in the cave, it could be judged that the previous owner of the cave was a snake-type demonic beast. Aside from the snakeskin, They didn't find anything else. There's nothing in this cave. The snake probably either went out or moved out. Lu Muyin took a look around and felt that this place was quite suitable for them to cultivate, and she was also too lazy to make another cave. Let's cultivate here. I'll use that cave in the cave to refine pills. Sure, the several people naturally wouldn't object. Since that day they temporarily lived in this cave. There would be demonic beasts breaking in from time to time, but they were either confused by the array, or they were killed by the array after forcing their way in. Lu Muyin also spent a few days refining a lot of pills, including those that improved cultivation, replenished elemental energy, nourished elemental energy and one's origins, antidotes, and those for healing. After giving Yunzi Mo and the others a few bottles of grade 3 elemental energy purifying pills, she entered the cave within the cave to absorb the spiritual force of heaven and earth as well, turning it into pure spiritual energy in her dantian, while also constantly refining and absorbing the energy of the demonic beast crystal cores. Time passed bit by bit, and the rankings on the jade tablet kept jumping, but Lu Muyin and the 5 others didn't fluctuate. She also quickly dropped from within the top 50 to below 1,000th. Seeing that the points for the name Lu Muyin hadn't changed since that day, many people guessed that she might have already suffered an unexpected death. As expected, she was a person from a small kingdom that wasn't fit to be brought onto the stage. Chapter 185. Take the initiative to come to their door. A month later, Lu Muyin opened her eyes from the state of cultivation, opened her palms, clenched them again, then punched towards the cave wall casually. Boom! A corner of the cave wall collapsed instantly. She closed her fist and smiled with satisfaction. The result of this 1-month seclusion was very good. She had entered the 3rd layer of her sorcerer skill body refinement method 1. And her cultivation base had also risen to peak phase Sword King. As long as there was an opportunity, she could break through to Sword Monarch. This time, not only did her Sword Master's cultivation base improve, but her Immortal Cultivator's cultivation base also broke through from initial phase to middle phase foundation establishment stage. Soon, she would be able to enter final phase foundation establishment stage. Then as long as she advanced to core formation stage, her strength would take a high leap in quality. How was cultivating? Lu Muyin got up, walked out of the cave, and asked the few people who sat together, chatting and laughing. We all advanced to Sword Monarch. Lu Mubai raised his head and replied with a light smile. Yeah, it's all thanks to your pill. Otherwise we wouldn't have been able to successfully advance to Sword Monarch cultivation base this time. Fu Chen said gratefully. Yun Lan and Qi Xian were talented from the beginning. After being cleansed by the marrow cleansing pill, their cultivation speed also became much faster. Plus, with the help of Lu Muyin's pills this time, they also broke through to Sword Monarch cultivation base, surprising even themselves. Although they were surprised that Lu Muyin could refine grade 3 pills, but they didn't ask more questions. There was just a feeling that it simply should be so. Lu Muyin held her forehead. It seems that I'm still at the bottom. Although your cultivation base is at the bottom, but your combat power is the strongest among us. A rare smile appeared on Yun Zimo's face. Actually, your cultivation base could really be used as a cover. You can usually perform with average results, but then amaze the world with a single feat. That's true, being low profile is the king's path. The several people looked at her in amusement. It would be strange if she could keep a low profile. We've rested enough. It's time for us to go hunting. Lu Muyin moved her fist. She just wanted to try the 3rd layer of her sorcerer skill. Yun Zmo and the others were usually relatively simple and indifferent, but after staying with her for so long, they were instead infected to like to seek stimulation as well. Let's go. Should we hunt in this mountain first? Yun Lan asked Lu Muyin with a smile. In this team, based on Yun Song and the others' thoughts, Yun Zmo would become their leader, but after more than a month of getting along, including Yun Zmo, they all held Lu Muyin's decision first. She gradually became their core. Of course, such a place filled with treasures to score points, we can't miss it. The several people quickly left the cave behind the waterfall. Lu Muyen took out the crystal cores of the demonic beasts that accidentally entered her array, and was killed, put the array away, and left the area together. Mo Yen, directly search for Tier 6 demonic beasts to kill. Lu Muyen poked Mo Yan's body, indicating that he could start. Tier 5 demonic beasts not only gave few points, but for their current cultivation base, battling them already had no value for training, so their current goals were for Tier 6 demonic beasts. Mo Yen glanced at Lu Muyen. He must have owed this woman something in his past life. Otherwise, why was he always being ordered by her? Bingji, this time you take them to find Tier 6 demonic beasts. Mo Yen swept the 7-colored parrot standing lazily on Lu Muyen's shoulder, and said coldly. Bingji was dazed for a moment, then turned to meet Mo Yan's cold gaze. He laughed dryly. Got it, boss. Boss, when did you acknowledge Mo Yen as boss? Didn't these two demonic beasts always not get along? Just what happened during her seclusion for cultivation. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks owner I know. Meow meow, who was coiled around Lu Muyen's wrist, stuck out her head and said in a tender baby voice. Stinky Bird was often beaten by Boss Yen until he cried for dad and screamed for mum when you were in seclusion, then took the initiative to recognize Boss Yen as boss in the end. Meow Meow had the bloodline of a true dragon to begin with, and had been devouring demonic beast crystal cores and pills refined by Lu Muyen recently, so she had also successfully broken through to Tier 5. Ordinary demonic beasts could only speak human words at Tier 6, while because of her pure bloodline talent, she could speak human words at just Tier 5, and her body could change freely. Bing Jia's face darkened. Shut up, what are you, a little baby, no? Don't talk nonsense. Although that was mostly truth, but it was really embarrassing saying that in front of so many people. Not to mention that he was just bullied badly. Where was he crying for dad and screaming for mum? Humph. Meow Meow huffed and rubbed Lu Muyen's hand intimately with her head. Lu Muyen was the closest to Meow Meow among these spirit pets. She used her finger to rub the head of the little white snake and glanced at Bingji. Your boss has spoken, hurry up and get to work. Although the spirit pets seemed to be bickering, but she could feel that their relationship was even closer. It seemed that it was also time to release Xue Xue and have him be in more contact with them. Thinking about hunting demonic beasts, a meaningful smile rose on her lips. Xue Xue should also come out to improve his strength. Right now, the members of their little team didn't have any selfish motives, so it was fine even if they knew about Xue Xue's existence. Bing Ji had a bitter look on his face, and he found that he had been unlucky since he met Ming Xiao. Every day, he regretted countless times why his mouth had to be so cheap to harass the beautiful man. Now he didn't just need to be ordered around by owner, but also by that little pretty boy Mo Yen. Even if Bing Jia's cultivation base was sealed by Ming Xiao, but he was still a Tier 8 demonic beast, and he soon led Lu Muyen and the others to the territory of a few Tier 6 demonic beasts. As soon as they stepped into the forest, the Tier 6 demonic beasts in that forest discovered them, and even took the initiative to come to their door. You human beings are so daring. How dare you come here to act wildly? There was a total of 5 demonic beasts, all of them in initial phase or middle phase Tier 6, and one of them, a diamond ape, looked at the people unkindly. A flying plume peacock beside him smacked his lips and said, "Wasn't it perfect that they've come to be our food? I haven't drunk the blood of a human sword master for so long. Haha. I was originally planning to follow the next beast tide to go eat some human flesh, but now they've sent themselves here to die. Let's help them." A mutant lynx licked his lips and said. Another mottled leopard and wood mammoth were also very excited, as if Lu Muyen and the others were already their food. The demonic beasts in this remote forested mountain are not only ignorant, but also extremely stupid. Lu Muyen shook her head and sighed. Woman, what did you say? Who's extremely stupid? The hot-tempered wood mammoth wasn't having it after hearing her say that. Lu Muyen rolled her eyes at him. Of course I'm talking about you all. On our side there's 6 people plus 2 demonic beasts. You've only got 5 demonic beasts, and your cultivation base is also similar to ours. You think we'll be as stupid as you all, just standing here and wait for you to eat us? Humph, what does cultivation base count for in your territory? Prepare to die. After the mutant lynx finished speaking, he raised his head and roared, clearly calling for companions. Lu Muyin didn't stop him either. The more he called, the better. As long as they didn't call over a tier 7 demonic beast, all was good. I picked that wood mammoth, you all share the rest. Lu Muyan's eyes locked onto that thick-skinned wood mammoth, and her hands were covered in a layer of red fluorescent light. It was no longer obvious that it was fire elemental energy condensation. The wood mammoth felt that he was being belittled. He was actually chosen by the weakest woman in this group of humans. This was a kind of humiliation. He roared and charged towards Lu Muyan first. He must tear this human into pieces and devour her. Come true one, I bet. While writing this novel, the author was like, I finally thought of a good name for this body refining method. Let's use it now. First time hearing about sorcerer's body refining method in this novel? Same. XD random note. Hahaha, old news, but Qi Yixian eventually got his marrow cleansing pill he didn't get long ago. So just remain as good friends with LMY and you won't regret it. XD. Chapter 186. Explosive increase in points. Lu Muyan saw that the wood mammoth took the initiative to come at her, and her eyes were filled with fighting spirit. Excellent, come at me. After speaking, she tapped her toes and flew up, landing directly on the back of the wood mammoth, and bombarded him with punch after punch. The wood mammoth was furious and ran around everywhere trying to toss her off his back, but it was as if she was stuck there, and he couldn't get rid of her no matter what. A burning sensation of pain transmitted from his back. What was that woman's hand made of? Not only was it so tough, but it also had flames. It was hurting him to death. The wood mammoth roared a few times and slammed into the surrounding trees continuously. Lu Muyin revealed interest in her eyes. Seemed like this mammoth wasn't too stupid. He still knew how to use a branch to scrape her off. She also wanted to try the mammoth's attack front on. So she jumped off his back and slammed her fists into the mammoth's face. The mammoth was indeed a tier 6 demonic beast. He covered his head with the demonic energy of his entire body. Although the opponent's fist that bombarded him made him a little dizzy, but because of the barrier formed by his demonic energy, the scorching fist winds were also blocked by more than half. Why does your younger sister like hand-to-hand combat so much? Truly how violent. Fu Chen's lips couldn't help twitching when he saw Lu Muyan's choice of fighting method. Lu Mubai glanced at him. My little sister is different. I just like her this violent. After he finished speaking, he took the initiative to greet the mutant lynx whose speed was his biggest advantage. After advancing their strength, the rest were also rubbing their fists and palms, and chose a demonic beast each to battle. Yun Ziemo saw that the demonic beasts were all divided up by the few people, and his eyes that were as dark and thick as ink were dyed with a smile. He hugged his arms and leaned against a tree to watch the battle. Roar! The combat power of the few were good to begin with, although they were in the territory of demonic beasts, but they had the upper hand. Lu Muyin even beat the wood mammoth until it was dodging east and hiding west. Her movements were very flexible. No matter how he dodged, he simply couldn't escape her fiery fist. Ground fracture. The wood mammoth stomped on the ground one huge foot after one huge foot. His demonic energy exploded in an instant, and cracks appeared on the ground, attacking Lu Muyin directly. Lu Muyin curled her lips into a smile. Facing the crevices with strong demonic energy, she slammed a few palms, causing ravines to spread across the earth. The wood mammoth used many methods, but none of the attacks could truly land on Lu Muyin. His entire body was screaming in pain, and he suffered indescribable agony. Didn't they say that all human women were made of water? Why was this woman even more violent than them? Demonic beasts. He wanted to die. Several demonic beasts had turned into their strongest true forms, but they only had the upper hand for a short moment before they were suppressed by their opponents. When they were about to lose, rumbling suddenly sounded from the mountains. The wood mammoth was overjoyed. Their reinforcements had come. He turned and glared at Lu Muyin fiercely, wishing to eat her flesh and drink her blood. Lu Muyin's eyes turned cold. She also heard that there were a lot of demonic beasts running over, and she immediately released the human-eating blood thornvine king. "Owner, you finally remembered me." Shui looked at Lu Muyen with an aggrieved expression. Bing Ji, that stinky thing, often came into the spirit beast ring to show off, and he just wanted to go out and also follow owner every day. Lu Muyen held her forehead. "Stop. Don't learn Bing Ji's disgusting manner." Then she pointed in the direction of the wood mammoth and said, "You've been hungry for a long time. Today you can eat as you like." Shui saw that the wood mammoth opposite was full of marks from being bombarded by fists. It seemed that it must be owner's masterpiece. Little owner mighty. He didn't delay either. After all, he hadn't drunk blood until his fill for many years. He embedded his rhizome deeply into the ground below, waved his dark golden main branch, and grabbed towards the wood mammoth. The wood mammoth had lived here for many years, but had never seen such a demonic plant. However, the palpitations of danger spread throughout his body. He instinctively turned around and ran, but he couldn't match Shui's speed. In only a bit, he was captured by Shui's vines. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, the small thorns on the golden vines instantly pierced into the wood mammoth's body, and the paralyzing toxin spread all over his body. He fell heavily to the ground and his copper, bell-like eyes were filled with terror, as if he had already felt the shadow of death. On the contrary, Shui was extremely excited and quickly absorbed the blood essence of the wood mammoth. In only a moment, an incomparably huge Tier 6 wood mammoth was sucked into dried meat. "You're not allowed to eat the crystal core." Seeing Shui roll up a yellowish-brown crystal core, and about to feed it into his humanized mouth on his tree trunk, Lu Muyen immediately flew up and snatched the crystal core. "Earth attribute crystal cores are still useful to me. You just sucked the blood." Lu Muyen rolled her eyes at the extremely aggrieved Shui. Did he think she didn't know? Sucking blood essence had better effect for human-eating blood thorn vines than consuming crystal cores. "Go suck up those demonic beasts too." Lu Muyen kicked him when she saw that he was staring at the crystal core in her hand, reluctant to give it up. "You look so unpromising, how embarrassing." Hearing what owner said, the human-eating blood thorn vine king immediately shook with energy, turned his head, and narrowed his eyes at the demonic beasts who were fighting with Lu Mu Bai and the others. That fiery gaze almost turned those demonic beasts into dust. Seeing that the wood mammoth was sucked into dry meat by the Tier 6 demonic plant, then being stared at by his scorching gaze, their scalps went numb. "Quickly leave!" the mutant lynx shouted, and fled towards the depths of the forest. The other demonic beasts didn't delay either, and fled in different directions, for fear that they would become food of the terrifying demonic plant if they were one step late. However, their opponent was the human-eating blood thorn vine king, who had gained intelligence for many years already. He had already laid countless vine trap nets underground. The few demonic beasts were all restrained by the golden vines. As soon as the blood thorns pierced their body, they all felt unable to move. They could only feel the blood in their bodies being drained bit by bit with fear in their eyes, and their aura of life also gradually vanished together. Human-eating blood thorn vine king. Yun Zimo's cold and unwavering eyes revealed surprise, and the others also watched. With numb scalps, the golden-colored plant excitedly sucked the blood essence of the demonic beasts. Aside from Lu Mu Bai and Yun Lan, none of them thought that Lu Muyen would still have such a terrifying demonic plant spirit pet. Most importantly, it was also a Tier 6 demonic plant king. Just what sort of trump cards did this woman have left? The more they came into contact with Lu Muyen, the more shocked they were. Towards her endless methods, they grew from shock to numbness. When Lu Muyen found that her name on the jade tablet began to jump again, she immediately stopped Shui. "Leave them alive first." Yet who knew that she shouted it one step too late? She said with embarrassment to Yun Lan and the others, "I forgot you won't get points if you don't kill these demonic beasts first. Later, before this ruffian sucks and eats, you kill them first." All right, they weren't people who were fussy. Seeing her rare display of embarrassment, their eyes were filled with smiles. Roar! The roar of demonic beasts sounded one after another. More than 20 Tier 5 or 6 demonic beasts came stampeding over. It was just that they had yet to even come close, when they were all caught by Shui's vine net, that he had long planted as ambushes. This time, Lu Mu Yen had him leave a breath for the demonic beasts, and only after Lu Mu Bai and the others killed them first did he devour all their blood essence. The demonic beasts called for friends and companions, and they came in waves from all directions, opening up all the pores of Shue's body, excitedly preparing for a feast. Lu Mu Yan's point soared again, and the speed was even faster than the first day. It only took an hour to soar from around 700 points to more than 2,000 points, also frightening many sword masters. Meanwhile, in the nearest cave deep in this remote forested mountain, a man with blue tattoos on the side of his face opened his eyes that were filled with ice. There is actually a human sword master who dares kill so freely in this king's territory, seeking death. After speaking, he narrowed his eyes dangerously, and he disappeared from the cave in a flash. Chapter 187, Escape. The Tier 5 and Tier 6 demonic beasts came wave after wave, but as soon as they stepped in, they were restrained by the escape-proof net that the human-eating blood thorn-vine king set up and violently sucked dry of blood essence. The surroundings were filled with the corpses of demonic beasts that had been sucked dry, leaving not a drop of blood. Looking at this scene, Yun Ziemo and the others all felt that their scalp was numb. If a Tier 6 demonic beast intruded, Lu Mu Yen would let them fight first to hone their combat ability, and when it was around enough, would she let Shue drink to his fill. The Tier 7 demonic beast is coming. Mo Yan's originally indifferent eyes narrowed. Bing Ji also noticed that the aura was constantly approaching. Then he flapped his wings and said, "What are you afraid of? It's just a Tier 7 little vermin." Fu Chen and the others were speechless after hearing his words. Wasn't the 7-colored parrot's tone too arrogant? He was only just a parrot too. Lu Mu Yen reached out her hand and knocked Bing Ji's head, saying telepathy, "Don't forget that you're currently only at Tier 6 cultivation base. Well, act according to the circumstance in a bit. If we can't handle it, well, run." Bing Ji was instantly like a deflated ball and complained, "It's all that red-clothed beautiful man's fault, sealing my demonic energy. Otherwise, little master, I will sweep this remote mountain." Humph, there's a peak phase Tier 8 demon king in the core area of this remote mountain. Even if we don't seal your demonic energy, you wouldn't be able to win either. Mo Yin glanced at Bing Ji. Lu Mu Yen furrowed her brows. "Didn't you say there are only 3 Tier 7 demonic beasts? How did a peak phase Tier 8 demonic beast king come into the picture? Before, he should have been dormant so his aura couldn't be felt, but he woke up in the last few days." Mo Yen said, "If that peak phase Tier 8 demon king came, then we'll be doomed. After killing this wave of demonic beasts, we should leave as soon as possible." Lu Mu Yen just had an indescribable sense of crisis. "What about the Tier 7 demonic beast?" Bing Ji asked. Lu Mu Yen spread out her hands, shrugging. "Don't know. If we can't beat it, we'll just run. Ming Xiu only sealed your demonic energy, but not your flying speed." The reason why they weren't afraid of the Tier 7 demonic beasts before was mainly because they had Bing Ji, who could help them escape. "Mu Yen, is there really a Tier 7 demonic beast coming?" Yun Lan's handsome face revealed a bit of gravity. Lu Mu Yen nodded, looked into the distance not far away and said, "It's already here." After her words fell, an unfamiliar aura suddenly locked onto this area. Wave after waves of high-level pressure attacked, and Yun Ziemo and the others' faces paled. Piyu, Qi Xian and Yun Lan, who were slightly weaker, were injured internally by the pressure and spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. Lu Mu Yan's eyes turned cold, and she kept forming seals in front of her chest. A jade-colored rune flew out of her body, enveloping the several people. With the shield made of void talismans, the pressure weakened a lot. The blood that the few people were about to spit out from their chests were suppressed. "Oh, there's some competence." A white-clothed man with blue tattoos on the side of his face came out from the void. As soon as the man approached, Lu Mu Yen smelled a familiar scent. He's the original owner of the cave behind the waterfall. Mo Yan's telepathic voice sounded in her mind. Lu Mu Yen also found that the smell from the man's body was the same as the snakeskin in the cave, and an understanding rose in her eyes. The cave was probably the place where this demon cultivator resided when he was a tier 6 before. It was only after he advanced to tier 7 did he change to a better place to cultivate. How dare you come here to kill? You're seeking death. The man swept his gaze over the dry corpses on the ground with a displeased expression and said coldly. He didn't actually care much about the dead demonic beasts, but to kill on his territory had already provoked his dignity. We're just standing here, they sent themselves to our door. Lu Muyen said with an indifferent expression, and her arms folded. No matter the reason, you have only a dead end. The man's eyes were grim and cold, like a venomous snake flicking their forked tongues. Lu Muyen's lips curled up. She could kill tier 6 demonic beasts now, but she hadn't yet fought a tier 7. She could give it a try. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, it's not up to you to decide whether we live or die. Lu Muyan's eyes were filled with fighting intent, and she stepped out of the shield made of runes, walking towards the man. Yener, come back. Lu Mubai was anxious. Little sister was too reckless. Lu Muyen turned her head and smiled, saying, Elder brother, it's all right if I can't beat him, then he'll run. She said this, but it couldn't reduce the worry in the hearts of the several people. But they also knew her temperament, and the things she decided to do couldn't be pulled back by even 10 horses. So they could only watch with hovering hearts. Ha, you a little girl is going to challenge this king. The man raised an eyebrow with interest in his eyes. Lu Muyan's hand was enveloped with a faint red light. Yes. Arrogant. The man said disdainfully. Let's fight. Lu Muyan tapped her toes after she finished speaking and flew up, punching the man. The man's eyes were indifferent, and with a light wave of his palm, Lu Muyan's fist power was resolved, while the remaining force attacked her chest. With a smirk on her lips, she used flash steps. Her steps were light, and her body moved like a ghost, quickly avoiding the remaining force of the palm strike. Boom! The palm wind instantly knocked down countless trees behind where she preciously was. When the several people within the shield saw that, their heartbeats were about to stop. Lu Muyan's hand were clenched into claws. She approached the man and kept clawing at him, and the several people only saw a phantom, occasionally appearing, then disappearing. The man also put away his inattentiveness at this time. He didn't expect that this little woman with a seemingly weak cultivation base was actually somewhat competent. He raised his hand and met Lu Muyan's fists or claws with his palms one by one. Then the two of them kept clashing against each other in another close-quarters combat. Piu! After a while, Lu Muyan's figure flew out and slammed into a big tree heavily, blood spurting out of her mouth. Yena/Muyen. The several people couldn't resist shouting when they saw her injured. She reached out her hand and wiped the blood from her lips, the fighting intent in her eyes not decreasing. Refreshing. After she started cultivating the sorcerer skill body refining method, this was the first time she was injured during close-quarters combat. Her internal organs were a little damaged right now, but in the battle just now, she actually found a sense of comprehension. It seemed that one really indeed had to fight against people or demons stronger than oneself to improve. This Snake King was indeed very strong. She raised her head, then utilized the tree to jump up, and threw out punches several more times faster than before. This was her limit. The Snake King hadn't moved his bones and muscles for a long time. Seeing that this woman was very tough, he planned to play with her a bit before killing her. So for the first time, he moved his foot and flew up. Boom boom! The fists of the two met one after another. The surrounding earth trembled, and the trees were affected, collapsing one by one. Lu Muyen and the man's cultivation base was too far apart. She could keep up in terms of understanding, but speed was still lacking. After dozens of rounds of bombardment, she was slammed in the chest by the man's palm and flew out hundreds of meters, spewing a few mouthfuls of blood. Piu! She clutched her chest, lowered her eyes and pondered, recalling the battle just now as she muttered to herself. So that's how it is. My previous direction seems to be a bit wrong. Dozens of rounds of battles gave her a deeper understanding of her own body refining method. The man suddenly looked towards the depths of the forest in the distance, and his eyes moved obscurely onto Lu Muyen. This king will send you all to death now. Lu Muyan's eyes narrowed, used flash steps to dash into the shield and shouted at Bingji. Escape! Come true. Chapter 188. The sense of crisis was deepening. Escape. As soon as Lu Muyan's voice sounded, Bingji instantly turned into his true form, and with a swing of his wings, he tossed Lu Mu Bai and the others onto his back. Then he spread his wings and flew towards the periphery of the remote mountain. The Snake King obviously didn't expect that there would be a Tier 6 ice one hidden in the midst. He felt that he was made a fool of. Hiss. A few hissing sounds carrying boundless demonic energy sounded, and a giant white snake hundreds of meters long flew up directly into the sky, opening his mouth and bit towards the Icelwan. Yun Zmo and the others were all stunned by the demonic energy of the roar just now. When the large mouth approached, 10 golden small swords flew out from Lu Muyan's body, carrying the pressure of a saint tool, whirling directly towards the snake's mouth. The Snake King's big, bucket-like eyes constricted, and the snake head slanted a bit, barely dodging the 10 flying swords. The flying swords, however, spun around and shot towards his weak point. Hiss! He swept his tail heavily and swung the 10 flying swords away. But Lu Muyan's natal magic tool was made of heavenly frost golden essence and several rare materials. Its sharpness was incomparable with other saint tools. While the flying swords were slapped away, a few large gaps were also torn on the tail by the sword aura. The white scales were stained with red blood, while the flying swords that had lost its center of gravity was instantly brought back into Lu Muyan's body. Bingji also used the few breaths of time that the flying swords bought to escape from the range of the remote mountains. As soon as the huge snake head touched the layer of mist that shrouded the remote mountains, it stopped, as if he were very afraid of the outside world. His eyes were filled with anger and coldness. Damned humans! He had lived for thousands of years, and this was the first time he had encountered such a situation. And it was also the first time he had been hurt by a human being. This grievance couldn't be swallowed at all, but after remembering one thing, he turned into a human figure again, and a sneer appeared on his lips. So what if you escape this time? When that time comes, this king will tear you all to pieces. After speaking, he glanced at the mist in disgust, then turned and disappeared into the forest. Before she prepared to escape, Lu Muyan had retrieved the reluctant Xue into the spirit beast ring already. Bingji flew maniacally all the way. Seeing that the Snake King hadn't chased them here, he landed in a desolate area with no one. Yin, are you alright? Lu Mubai asked in concern. Yin Zmo and the others also cast worried looks towards her. This woman was truly so daring, even daring to provoke a Tier 7 Snake King. They really didn't know what to say. Lu Muyan took a bottle of healing pills and waved her hand dismissively. No problem. The Snake King's cultivation base was at middle phase Tier 7, which was equivalent to a high-level sword sovereign, and he also contained a trace of Jiao bloodline, making him very strong. With her current cultivation base at peak phase Sword King, being able to fight him a few dozen rounds was all thanks to the sorcerer's skill. This time, although she was injured in the battle, but it helped her understand a few points that she didn't understand when cultivating the sorcerer's skill. She didn't regret the impulsive decision, and the fighting spirit in her body hadn't completely faded. That Snake King doesn't seem to dare to step out of that remote mountain, she telepathically said to Mo Yan. Mo Yan's indifferent eyes had a little more complexity. Indeed, he can't step out of the remote mountain, but not because there's something blocking his steps. Instead, he seemed to be afraid of something. I just feel like there are a lot of secrets hidden in this competition space. Lu Muyan reached out and pinched between her eyebrows. The sense of crisis not only didn't weaken, but was deepening. Mo Yan nodded. Indeed. Maybe we'll meet the Snake King in the future again. You've made a huge mess again. Although he said this, but his tone was very indifferent. Obviously, he didn't really take the Snake King to heart. Lu Muyan rolled her eyes at him. What did this have to do with her? Even if she didn't fight the Snake King wouldn't let them go either. When there's a lot of debt, you don't worry anymore. No problems. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. It was still best to improve her strength as soon as possible. She already made 2 huge enemies as soon as she entered here. She found that she really was going all out. You should hurry up and advance to Sword Monarch soon. Mo Yen had a smile in his eyes. It'll teach you a secret skill after you advance to Sword Monarch. That way, when you encounter that Tier 7 Snake King, you won't have to run away. Lu Mu Yan's eyes lit up. Then he'll have to advance quickly. Mo Yan's secret skill definitely wouldn't be weak. The few people recovered for 2 hours, then began to rush. It's getting dark. We need 4 hours before we could arrive at the next refuge city. Yun Ziemo looked at the color of the sky and said, the several people didn't ask about Bingji. In their eyes, Lu Mu Yen doing something out of the ordinary had only become a matter of course, and they were already numb to her tricks. It's alright either way, we have to earn points. If we encounter a group of demonic beasts on the road, then just kill them. Lu Mu Yen looked at her jade tablet, where she was currently ranked around 4,000th, and was very dissatisfied. She should go out every day to kill demonic beasts these few days. How many points would she obtain for killing a Tier 7 Snake King? If she could advance into Sword Monarch cultivation base within the specified time during the points competition, she didn't mind swinging around to kill him, turning that arrogant Snake King into points. In a refuge city in the south, Yi Qing Han held the jade tablet tightly, then retrieved his gaze after a while. The jade tablet in his hand was green, indicating that the strength of the empire he belonged to was around the middle. Lu Mu Yen and the others' points have stopped. It seems that they should have reached a refuge city. Mui put away the jade tablet in his hand and said, I just knew she wouldn't have fallen. When he mentioned Lu Mu Yen, Yi Qing Han's handsome face glowed with a soft light that even he didn't notice. After Lu Mu Yan's points skyrocketed on the first day, there was no movement. This sort of calm lasted for a month. Many people guessed that she had fallen, but he didn't believe it. Until today, when Lu Mu Yan's name started to fly straight up in the rankings again, did his heart that had been hovering finally fall back down. There wasn't much expression on Shifeng's face that looked as if it had face paralysis, but his tone was much more relaxed. I wonder when we'll meet again. Next to the 3 of them sat Ling Fei Yang. He touched a string of golden beads on his wrist, and his eyes revealed some anticipation. The entries for the pupils of the 10 distinguished clans were all divided among the 4 strongest empires in the eastern region. The entries for each clan were determined by their own clans. One clan had 2 entries. In the Ling clan, after Ling Fei Yang's legs healed, he and Ling Fei Hao were chosen. As night fell, beast roars suddenly sounded in the originally quiet mountain. Lines of black shadows sprang out from the mountains and moved around. I found that the high-level demonic beasts in this space basically don't step out of the mountain forest during the day and start to become active at night, as if they have no scruples. Yun Lan listened to the demonic beasts roar louder and louder than the previous as he said. Lu Mu Yin also noticed this problem. If they encountered the Snake King tonight, they might be chased by him constantly. Maybe it's because of the human powerhouses. She didn't find any arrays or restrictions on the periphery of the forest, and couldn't think of other possibilities except for human reasons. There's a demonic beast tide coming in our direction. Get ready to fight. A rare trace of fighting intent flashed past Yun Zimo's black eyes. After hanging with Lu Mu Yen more, he also instinctively liked excitement and stimulation. The speed of the demonic beasts was very fast, and in less than a quarter of an hour, they all surrounded Lu Mu Yen and the others. With a visual estimation, there was about a few hundred in the first wave. After the calls of the several Tier 6 demonic beasts, more demonic beasts continued to gather in this direction, forming a small beast tide. Let's kill, it's time to earn points. Lu Mu Yan's lips curled up and with a flash, she rushed towards the leading Tier 6 demonic beasts in the back. Chapter 189. Earning Point Strategy. A small beast tide was formed, and there were about 1,000 demonic beasts that gathered, most of them around Tier 4 or 5. Lu Mu Yen fought with the Tier 6 demonic beast while releasing all her spirit pets. At this time, having a lot of spirit pets sure was nice, as they were equivalent to cheats. Seeing this, the other people also released their spirit pets. With so many demonic beasts, they wouldn't even be able to kill them all. Before Lu Mubai came here, he contracted an initial phase Tier 6 water crocodile that Lu Muyen specifically caught for him. And he also released him right now. The demonic beasts contracted by the others were all Tier 5. Ah, owner, this is really a feng shui one treasure place. So many demonic beasts, I like it. The human-eating blood thorn vine king shouted excitedly as soon as he was released from the spirit beast ring. Back in the Sunset Cloud Mountain range, he wasn't even able to see many living demonic beasts in a year in his territory. Being limited by that abnormal monster, he also didn't dare step out of those golden thorn bushes. Remembering it now, it was all snot and tears. Fortunately, he met little owner. Being able to open up his belly to absorb blood essence was something he had never experienced when he was in the Sunset Cloud Mountain range. The bottleneck that he had reached had also been loosened. If there were a few more beast tides like this, he would be able to break through. Embedding his main root into the ground, Shui stretched his golden vines to the surrounding Tier 4 and 5 demonic beasts. In just a moment, the ground was covered with countless drained demonic beast corpses. Mo Yin knew the function of points, so although he disliked it, but he also took action. His body suddenly grew bigger, and each slap of his paw would kill one. Because Bing Ji already revealed his true form, Lu Muyen didn't tell him to go play on the side either. He turned into an ice luan and swept the surroundings of Tier 4 and 5 demonic beasts, venting all his recent frustrations. With a wave of his wings, demonic beasts that rushed up without fearing death fell to the ground and died one after another. Even Meow Meow couldn't be idle anymore. She flew out of Lu Muyan's hand, turned into a huge python, and swallowed mouthful after mouthful of the constantly besieging demonic beasts. Don't you all kill them all. Leave a breath for me to suck and eat. Seeing that his companions were so mighty, Shui Shui couldn't resist shouting. There was a difference in effect of absorbing the blood essence of a living demonic beast to absorbing one that was died. Seeing how Lu Muyan's demonic beasts looked as if they were all overstimulated, scrambling to freely kill, and how in only a short while, only a third were left of over 1,000 demonic beasts, Fu Chen and the others couldn't resist twitching their eyelids. Wasn't this speed too exaggerated? What sort of spirit pets did she raise? Sure enough, with what kind of owner, there would be what kind of spirit pet. You all take it easy and leave some points for others. Lu Muyen couldn't resist twitching the corners of her lips, seeing her own spirit pets act as if they hadn't killed in several lifetimes. Could they stop being so violent? After listening to her calls, the speed of the several demonic beasts slowed down. Mo Yin retracted his noble claws and jumped onto Lu Muyan's shoulder, no longer participating. To think he actually also lowered himself to kill low-level demonic beasts in groups. If those guys knew about it, they definitely would die of laughter. An hour later, the small beast tide that had gathered were all disintegrated by them, and there wasn't a single surviving demonic beast. This efficacy was too fast, and the points of the several people had also risen a lot. I only grew a bit more than 100 ranks, isn't this too slow? Lu Muyen picked up her jade tablet and looked at the rankings, furrowing her brows while saying, if they went out to find demonic beasts to kill in the daytime, it would be even slower. By the time they reached the central city, it might even be difficult for them to reach above 1,000th. This speed is already very fast. After all, we're a month behind others. Yin Ziemo saw that she disliked that her ranking was too low. How about this? Lu Muyan's lively eyes turned as she smiled and said, in the future, we'll rest in the refuge city during the day and travel at night. Otherwise it'll be difficult to advance to the top 10 at this speed. Advance to the top 10? She sure dared to think about it. Fu Chen pondered, then asked, what if we accidentally encounter a large beast tide? It was indeed easy to deal with such a small beast tide. But if they encountered a large beast tide, it would be difficult for them to escape. Otherwise, other sword masters would long have done something like resting during the day and rushing to earn points at night. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks what they encountered in the first refuge city, that day was only a medium-sized beast tide. and it was already that difficult to deal with, let alone a large one. Most importantly, the appearance of a large beast tide generally meant a Tier 7 demonic beast leader. So once they encountered one, they would definitely die. Won't happen with Mo Yen. Wherever Tier 7 demonic beasts appear, we can all avoid them. Lu Muyen currently found that Mo Yin really was the perfect cheat. His demonic sense could sweep the auras within thousands of li too. The moment they discover a Tier 7 demonic beast or a large beast tide, they could immediately change direction or run away on Bingji's back. The reason why they didn't use Bingji directly to travel was for training. They really couldn't rely too much on the ability of spirit pets. Sure, if that's the case, then it should be no problem for our points to reach above 1,000th. Yun Zimo's eyes were filled with a smile. He had heard that a large number of sword masters would be eliminated in the preliminary round, but as long as the points remained above 1,000th, then they could enter the second elimination round. Lu Muyin glanced at him. Don't be so unpromising. My goal is the Jade Tablet rewards of the top 10. Cough cough. Yun Zimo felt a little awkward and embarrassed after being glanced at by her. Then after thinking about it, he said with a smile, then our goal is to be in the top 100. With a little abnormal monster like Lu Muyen, and earning points at such a rate, they at least had some hope of entering the top 100. The others were also infected by Lu Muyen, and their hearts were filled with passion. She even dared to think and do it. Why did they dare not to as men? Yi Qing Han and the others who were sitting cross-legged, recovering in the resting rooms of the refuge city, suddenly opened their eyes and looked at the jade tablet in their hands. Lu Muyen and the others' points have started to skyrocket again. Mui said in surprise. Could it be that a beast tide attacked a city? Shifeng looked at the constantly jumping ranks and guessed. Such a speed of points increasing usually only happened when a beast tide attacked a city. Yi Qinghan played with the jade tablet in his hand and chuckled. She's about to catch up to us. We can't be too weak either. Their current rankings had been maintained at around 1,000th. Originally, they were going to exert their strength in the last half a month, but now that they were being chased like this by Lu Muyen, they had a little more hope and passion in their hearts. Indeed, if we keep holding back, Yena will probably surpass us in a short time. Ling Fei Yang had a light and joyous smile on his gentle and elegant face. Then let's freely earn points tomorrow. Mui raised an eyebrow. The points race with Lu Muyen and the others was also a kind of fun adjustment to their boring life. Killing along the way, Lu Muyen and the others arrived at the refuge city at dawn. When they entered the city, many sword masters were on their way out of the city, and when these people saw that the group had only just entered the city, they all revealed some scrutiny and doubts, but they didn't pay much attention either. After all, they still needed to go out to hunt demonic beasts and earn points. During the day, the inns were practically empty. They booked 6 principal rooms and started to rest and recover. At night, when other sword masters entered the refuge city, they began to go out to hunt demonic beasts. Such actions also aroused the curiosity of many people. But because it was night, other sword masters didn't dare to follow them to find out. At night, the 6 people killed demonic beasts to their heart's content to earn points. Every night, they would encounter several waves of small beast tides, and they also encountered a medium beast tide once. Under Lu Muyen and her few abnormally monstrous spirit pets' maniacal killings, they were also wiped out completely. Such a situation continued for 7 or 8 days. When Lu Muyen and the others' scores soared into the top 1,000th, it also attracted the attention of many sword masters of large kingdoms. Come true, one people may have heard of feng shui before. And for those who haven't, it's basically the belief that the placement of things make a place lucky or unlucky. It literally translates to wind water, but I'm keeping it as feng shui. In real life, it's common for new superstitious house owners to hire a feng shui master to come and take a look at the interior of their house, etc., and tell them where they should arrange their furniture for good luck and fortune. They might even ask a feng shui master to recommend them good places to buy a home. This is because feng shui also extends to the placement of mountains, rivers, and nature, etc. Even graveyards have their own feng shui involved, such as having tombstones facing or not facing certain directions, etc. Buildings might also be built a certain way, like having their buildings' entrances face south for fortune, etc. So in this case, Shue Shue is just exclaiming that what a nice place this was, since there are so many demonic beasts that he loves here, haha. A feng shui treasure place is usually used to describe lucky places. 21 li is approximately 500 meters. Note, I was on a translating spree the past 2 days, and translated a lot, so I decided to randomly upload 2 chapters today XD. Or first update of the day, depending on your time zone, hahaha. Chapter 190. Attention of numerous parties. As the night got darker, a red-clothed man stood on the wall of a large city in the north. The gentle breeze lifted his sleeves, flamboyantly fluttering. There were 4 men and 1 woman standing behind him. One of the men looked at the 6 names that were rising in rankings on the jade tablet and said in a hoarse voice, "Their names start jumping the moment it turns to night, and the skyrocketing speed is extremely fast." The one named Lu Mu Yin was the one who broke into the top 50 on the first day, right? The only woman among them said, "Lu Mu Yin? They must have chosen the strategy of resting during the day and traveling at night to earn points." The red-clothed man standing on the city wall played with the jade tablet in his hand, with a hint of interest in his casual tone. One of them furrowed their brows and said, "They're too bold. Aren't they afraid of encountering a large-sized beast tide? One must know, even us and Mo Ling's group dare not go out in the middle of the night. Their luck is very good. This kind of points advancement has lasted for 8 days." The man who had been silent the entire time said, "Continue to pay attention to the trend of their points. If they advance into the top 100, then that'll be interesting." The red-clothed man hopped down the city wall indifferently. Tonight was another quiet night. No fun. Above a large city in the east stood a man who exuded a sense of pride, aloofness, and coolness. He looked down at the jade tablet in his hand and murmured, "Not dead yet? Interesting." At the same time, in a castle in the core area of the competition space, more than a dozen people were sitting in a large room. There was a wall made of spar in front of them. At this time, images were being reflected on the wall. Precisely the situation of the contestants in the competition field right now. When this special space was discovered back then, several almighties spent hundreds of years setting up an array, among which was an array within an array where images took shape and could be reflected on the specially made spar walls. Except for Class 3 danger areas and within refuge cities, the situation everywhere else could be seen. This was also so that it was made convenient for the 6 major sects during each tournament to select pupils with outstanding talents or special abilities. When the screen shifted to a large plain, everyone saw a stunning young woman rushing towards the leading Tier 6 demonic beast behind the beast tide. Her movements were like a ghost, and her fists were comparable to black iron. Fists bombarded one after another, and under the most primitive close-quarters combat, the loser was actually the demonic beast. Among them, a red-haired and red-bearded old man's eyes lit up, slapped his thigh and said, "This girl's body is already as strong as a Tier 6 demonic beast. What a good seedling." He was an elder of the vast mountain sect among the 6 major sects that specialized in body refining. She actually owns 4 high-level spirit pets. It seems that she's a spirit beast master. We want this girl. A cyan-clothed elderly man stared at the spirit pets Lu Mu Yin released, his eyes filled with sharp light. A demonic plant so rare it was hard to come by even in 1,000 years, the descendant of a Cyan Luan, and even a Tier 6. This girl's contracting talent was probably heaven-defying. Their spirit tamers sect definitely wouldn't let go of such a genius. A tall and thin middle-aged man sitting at the back kept his eyes fixed on Lu Mu Yan's 10 golden flying swords and narrowed his eyes. "I think she is best at swordsmanship. Look at her magic tool. It could be combined and separated and kills the enemy with sharpness. She's more suitable for our sword sect. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, damned your mothers. Didn't you see that she has been using arrays to lock the demonic beasts in the entire beast tide?" A ruddy elderly man among them stood up and pointed to a location and said, "Look, she can easily set up a 4 symbols killing array. She is best at arrays, so naturally she should come to our 8 Extremes sect." The 8 Extremes sect mainly focused on smithing and arrays, and had many pupils with talent in arrays. It was rare to see such a young person with such strong array attainments. He just wanted to go recruit her right now into the sect. No, an elegant-looking middle-aged man said with a gentle smile. Did you not discover that the pills in her hands had not stopped? Such extravagance of devouring pills to replenish elemental energy, to kill demonic beasts, are only present in 2 possibilities. One is that her background is from an alchemist clan, or 1, she's an alchemist herself. If she's an alchemist, our medicine sect will make a reservation first. Then he added, "Rubbish. You also know that it's as difficult as ascending to the heavens and finding a young pupil with talent in arrays. It's rare for me to meet one. Don't you all try to compete with me." "What do you mean? It's not easy to find a good seedling with such a tough body. Why should I let you?" "I say that a little miss like her is more suitable to be a spirit beast master." The several people instantly fought over Lu Mu Yen with red faces and crimson ears, no one wishing to let go of such a good seedling. A white-haired elderly man with a calm expression, and eyes that were unwavering and unshaken, carrying a boundless deepness slowly said, "The preliminary round isn't even over yet. Aren't you all too impatient? Whether she's a phoenix or a sparrow, we will know after a year's time. What's the use of you snatching for her now?" Hearing the elderly man's words, the elders of the major sects who were arguing also stopped. That was true. It was useless for them to compete now. The selection of the 6 major sects was from the last 100 people in the finals. Of course, if this girl didn't make it into the top 100, they could also find a way to get her into the sect. At the worst, she could just start as an outer pupil. There's another most important point. The white-haired old man knew clearly what these people were thinking, and after the room was silent he continued. She already attracted the attention of many talented sword masters of the generation from large countries. Whether she could live until the end is also a question. You should all save your energy. This girl was indeed really good. If she could successfully enter the top 100, then they, the Heavenly Secret Palace, would definitely take her. Seeing that the enthusiasm and light in many people's eyes still hadn't faded, the white-haired old man fell silent, and hid the strange color in his eyes as he said with a smile. Although her talent is exceptional, but she learnt too many things. Learning was considered best when focusing on being proficient in something. Her future achievements may not necessarily be outstanding. After listening to his words, many people hesitated. When they thought about it carefully, she really did know too many things. This kind of talent could be considered heaven-defying, but it was also because she knew too many things that she could be distracted. It was hard to say if she could be raised to become an elite pupil in the future. However, the elders of the major sects weren't fools, either, to be shaken by the white-haired old man's words. They decided to pay more attention to this girl in this year. If she really had the strength to advance into the top 100 of the finals, then they'll definitely snatch her. Sitting in the corner, a white-clothed man whose beauty was beyond a mortal looked at the lovely figure that was constantly flashing within the beast tide with a gentle gaze, the corners of his lips rising slightly. "Woman, you really won't let me down." Lu Mu Yen, who was using various means to kill demonic beasts in the beast tide, furrowed her brows. Why did she always feel like she was being watched? At this time, she didn't know that her every move fell into the eyes of the old fellows from the 6 major sects, and that she had also entered the list of priorities to pay attention to of the major sects and many elite teams in this competition space. Chapter 191. Trouble Wascoming. There were 6 men sitting in a principal room of an inn in a medium-sized city in the east. Before them knelt a yellow-clothed woman wearing a veil. "Your Royal Highness, that's the situation." Although the few of them were incompetent, but they were still members of the EC Empire. Those people killing them is equal to provoking the authority of the Empire. The yellow-clothed woman said with a slight sob. The hatred in her heart had practically corroded her entire being. Her proud, beautiful face was ruined by that woman's one poison pill. She must persuade the elite team of the EC Empire to take action, and then she would personally peel off that woman's face to make a human skin mask with. The man sitting in the central position was handsome and dressed in apricot yellow brocade clothes. With one glance, it was obvious he was a member of the royal family of a certain kingdom. He picked up the teacup and gently scraped the tea leaves in his cup with his lid. After a while he slowly asked, "They're all dead, so how did you survive?" "That woman fed me a poison pill and wanted to torture me, so she didn't kill me." In order to convince the several people, her eyes were filled with cruelty, and she stretched out and took off the veil from her face. The several people couldn't help furrowing their brows when they saw the blue lines on her face. This face was completely ruined. Why did she only feed you a poison pill and kill the others? The person addressed as Your Royal Highness looked at the yellow-clothed woman with sharp eyes and continued, saying, "Tell me how you met and the process of why they were killed again. I want to hear the unbiased story, including the reason for feeding you the poison pill." He knew exactly what sort of disgusting manner the other team members had, and presumably it wasn't like what the yellow-clothed woman said just now, where they merely met, entered into a fight, and was killed. The yellow-clothed woman shuddered slightly, and after being overwhelmed by the man's gaze, she didn't dare to hide anything anymore, and told the story from the very beginning. "That day we went to the inn in the refuge city to book." After finishing, 2 lines of tears streamed down and she choked, saying softly, "Your Royal Highness, this is all that happened. Channer didn't hide anything and doesn't dare deceive Your Royal Highness." If she had cried weakly and softly when was still more beautiful, then maybe it would arouse a slight heart of pity and tender care for Jade and the few people. But they just felt her disgusting with her current ugliness. "You leave first." Yizhao waved his hand and signaled for her to leave. The yellow-clothed woman was unwilling, but she also knew how ruthless His Royal Highness was beneath his usual gentleness, so she bowed tenderly and left the room. "Your Royal Highness, do you think she's telling the truth?" one of them asked. Yizhao took a sip of tea. "It's most likely true." Then he turned his eyes to the masked man in black sitting opposite and asked, "Che Jin, what do you think of it? After all, one of the people killed was your own younger brother. Although that kid is a good-for-nothing, and I also hate his temperament very much, but I can't tolerate other people killing him." The black-clothed masked man's eyes were tempered with a layer of cold light. "Of course I want revenge. They were brothers of the same mother. Even if he looked down on that younger brother, he was still unhappy when he heard the news of his death. Sure, it's just a group of people from a small kingdom. When we meet, we'll just kill them together." Yizhao smiled indifferently. While they were at it, they would also take the footwork and the body refining method from that woman to see if it were as powerful as what Huang Channer said. The sky in the due east rose with a gray dawn, and a trace of morning light broke out and scattered down. Lu Muyen and the others stepped into a medium-sized refuge city in the west in the morning splendor. They still chose an inn as their destination, took their room keys, and went back to their rooms to recover and rest. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. As soon as they stepped upstairs, a man in apricot-colored brocade clothes walked out of Heaven Room number 1, and just missed them. The moment Huang Channer turned her head, she saw a corner of light purple clothes and felt a familiar, but also unfamiliar, feeling in her heart. She was just about to walk over to take a look when she was called by Yizhao. She turned her head back in confusion and went downstairs. After leaving the city, Yizhao pointed to a looming mountain in the distance and said, "Let's go hunting in that mountain today." "Sure. When we return, we should be able to make it back before dark on second elder brother's flying demonic beast." A man who looked somewhat similar to Yizhao said with a smile, "Huang Channer, are you going hunting with us or staying in the city?" Yizhao asked. Huang Channer constantly felt uneasy ever since seeing the corner of light purple clothes, and hurriedly replied softly, "I want to go hunting with your Royal Highness." At this time, her mind was no longer on earning points and her ranking. In her mind, besides revenge, there was still revenge. Although the few people were annoyed by her, But they let her follow because she was the only one who had seen the group of people from the small kingdom. After resting in the inn for a day, Lu Muyen opened her eyes when the light of the sunset enveloped the entire city. Emoyen, do you feel like we're being watched? She always felt like someone was watching when she killed demonic beasts in the beast tide every night. Emoyen pondered for a moment. I always feel that there's something wrong. If we're being monitored, then it could only be the actions of the organizer, or using the arrays set up within this competition space to watch the movements of competitors. There's such an array. Of course, there's a kind of array within an array called image reflection array, which can feed back what occurs in the places that are easier to monitor in this large array to the center of the array source, then project the groups of images in the array source to a special crystal wall. As such, you can see the actions of everyone in those places on the crystal wall. Emoyen glanced at Lu Muyen in surprise. Wasn't this woman very knowledgeable about arrays? She didn't even know this? Lu Muyen was a master at playing with arrays, but the immortal cultivation world didn't have such an array of reflecting images. After hearing what Emoyen said, she not only became interested in this image reflection array, but also had some theoretical guesses. Then, she shrugged helplessly and asked, "Then am I exposing too much? Just don't expose the purple gold spirit flame." Emoyen thought for a bit and added, "You best increase the strength of the array used to conceal the aura of your natal magic tool, and don't let others figure out that it's made of heavenly frost golden essence." These two things, not to mention on Tianling continent, even in the upper interface, were things that were contended for by powerhouses. Lu Muyan's strength was still very weak, and it wasn't suitable for her to expose it. That's my trump card, and I won't reveal it unless absolutely necessary. Lu Muyan nodded in agreement. Until the moment of life or death, she definitely must not use the purple gold spirit flame in this space. As for the seal on the heavenly frost golden essence, she had absolute confidence that others wouldn't be able to recognize it. But to be more cautious, she would add another layer of a seal tomorrow in the daytime. The one human, one beast talked a little more, and only when it was getting dark did they leave the room and join Yun Zmo and the others. They had already formed the habit of acting at night and resting in a city during the day. Every time they arrived at a refuge city, Lu Muyen would sweep up the spiritual herbs or useful spars in it. The main reason was that the consumption of spiritual replenishing pills was simply too high. She basically refined a pile every 3 or 4 days or so. They prepared to leave the city before night fell, but when they exited the city gate, they happened to encounter a group of people entering the city. Lu Muyen glanced at them casually and didn't recognize them. But when she saw a delicate woman in yellow clothes following behind that party, her eyes darkened, and she thought inwardly that trouble was coming. As expected, when the two teams passed by each other, the yellow-clothed woman suddenly pointed at Lu Muyen and said, "Your Royal Highness, it's them." "Your Royal Highness, it's them." The voice of the yellow-clothed woman fell, and the group of people all turned around and glanced at Lu Muyen and the others. Lu Muyen also guessed the identity of the other party. She raised an eyebrow, looked at the yellow-clothed woman and said with a smile, "Why are you wearing a veil? Do you have no face to see people with? You bitch." Huang Qianer's face under the veil was hideous and ferocious, and the hatred in her eyes was undisguised. "Not as much of a bitch as you," Lu Muyen replied with a light smile. This woman's pill poison already developed 7 or 8 tenths. In another 3 days, she would gradually age and definitely die within 10 days. "You're the one who killed the other team of our EC Empire?" Yi Zhao walked up to Lu Muyen and looked her up and down, his eyes flashing with surprise at her beauty. What a pity! If it weren't for them being an enemy team, he could have brought this stunning-looking woman with a beautiful, attractive figure and outstanding temperament into his imperial harem. Lu Muyen furrowed his brows. This man's invasive gaze was really disgusting. So what if it's us? The overall strength of their team right now seemed to be lower than the opponents, but their means weren't necessarily inferior. They could even escape from a medium-sized beast tide. They wouldn't be afraid of the few people from an elite team of a medium-sized empire. Yi Zhao raised an eyebrow and a contemptuous smile appeared on his lips. Indeed very savage, but a pity you won't live long. If you want to fight, then fight. Lu Muyan's eyes were cold. What an arrogant tone. Che Jin, who was standing behind Yi Zhao, took a step forward and stared at Lu Muyan with cold eyes fixedly. Was my younger brother killed by you? Your younger brother? If you're talking about the leader of that team, then it was indeed I who killed him. Lu Muyan nodded irrefutably. So that bear bag also had an elder brother from an elite team. No wonder he was so arrogant before. Then today's battle was definitely unavoidable. Then pay it back with your life. Che Jin's voice was cold. With a flash, he appeared on Lu Muyan's left, raised his hand, and hit a palm wind towards her. Lu Muyan raised her eyes and glanced at him with ridicule. She used flash steps to disappear from her place as fast as a ghost. The palm wind with explosive power hit the black iron on the city wall, creating a crisp sound. Who is fighting in the city? If you want to fight, then go out of the city to fight, or you will be disqualified from the competition. A weathered, elderly voice suddenly sounded, and a powerful aura directly locked onto Che Jin and Lu Muyan. Che Jin wasn't successful with one palm strike, but he didn't dare act again after receiving a warning. He said with a grim look, "Let's go out of the city to settle our feud." Lu Muyan found that the scent of blood in his vicious aura was even worse than that of the tall, big man she had killed before. As expected from two brothers, she didn't say anything, glanced at him lightly, then flew out the city gate, and looked at the few people from the open space outside the city with coldness. Yun Zmo and the others also flew out and landed next to Lu Muyan, each holding a longsword in their hands, looking prepared for battle. Based on today's situation, a fierce battle was inevitable. Since they're this eager, taking the initiative, then we'll go play with them a bit. Make it a quick battle. Yi Zhao's tone was very casual, as if killing Lu Muyan was as easy as stepping on grasshoppers. The several people didn't reveal weakness, all drawing their swords and leaping out, picking a person each, and started to fight directly. At this time, the city wall was crowded with sword masters who watched. But they had long believed that Lu Muyan's side would probably fall tonight in this competition space. The elite team of the EC Empire had been in this city for more than 10 days. They went out to hunt during the day and returned at night to rest. They were very strong, and practically no one dared to provoke them. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Who knew that an unknown little team of people would dare to provoke them? They really didn't care for danger. Lu Muyan's opponent was still the masked man in black. The moment the man came up, it was a strike with a sword. The sword aura spread underground, shattering the earth, and the violent yellow sword aura rushed towards her face. The moment he acted, it was a killing move, and his desire to kill her was heavy. Quick! Lu Muyan's red lips parted lightly, and the golden flying sword she nurtured in her body burst out, forming an arc in midair. Clang clang! The violent, surging sword aura fell on the golden arc and disappeared, as if swallowed up. Che Jin was surprised, and his face beneath the black cloth was even more grim. No wonder she was able to kill that younger brother of his. She indeed had some capabilities. He no longer hid his abilities as he kept forming seals in midair. Elemental energy channeled into the long sword in his hand bit by bit, and traces of spiritual force from the ground beneath him merged into his sword. Die! A dazzling yellow light swept up the soil on the ground, instantly turning it into sharp earth thorns, and a rumble sounded from beneath their feet. The man's heart was vicious and cold, and he never left future trouble. So he had developed the habit of whenever he acted, the opponent must die. This time he also used his strongest among his sword skills. At this time, not only were the sword masters on the city wall watching the battle, but even the elders of the 6 major sects in the castle were staring at the crystal wall attentively. The warm expression on the handsome, white-clothed man that sat behind the elders didn't change, but there was a chill at the bottom of his eyes. If these people dared to touch a single hair on his little woman, he would wipe out their entire EC empire. Center of the battlefield. Countless earth thorns whirled madly over with flying sand and rocks. Lu Muyen estimated the opponent's strength in her mind, middle phase sword monarch cultivation base, and their earth elemental energy attribute was about to be cultivated until Great Achievement Realm 1. Such strength could be ranked around the middle against everyone in the competition space. So he had the capital to be prideful. Unfortunately, he met her, so he was doomed to be unlucky. Lu Muyen stood indifferently in the air, standing on a circle of golden flying swords that formed a ring. She formed a few Taoist seals in front of her chest. Then she raised her right hand and opened her palm. A few seeds fell, carried by the wind, landing right in front of her. An obscure and difficult spell emerged from her lips. She stepped on the golden ring and landed on the floor. Her left palm gently caressed the ground, and a trace of spiritual energy, carrying green mist, spread downwards, instantly landing on the few seeds. The seeds germinated in an instant, and in just a few breaths of time, they grew into several heaven-reaching giant trees. The roots of the trees were deeply rooted into the soil, and the lush branches and leaves swayed constantly. The earth thorns that whirled up sand and stone, along with the sword aura, landed on the tree trunks that formed a row, but they couldn't advance at all. Break! Lu Muyan's eyes narrowed sharply. After the few giant trees waved their branches continuously to disintegrate the sword aura and earth thorns, they moved as if alive and immediately surrounded Che-Jin within a range of only 10 meters. What inhibits earth? Wonderful! This little girl could actually use arrays to such a degree. Truly a genius. The strong and muscular elderly man of the 8 Extremes sect stood up excitedly. You mean she's using an array right now? An elder from the 6 major sects asked, puzzled. The strong and sturdy old man nodded vigorously. The seeds are the source of the array that she has nurtured for a long time. As long as she uses the wood attribute elemental energy to grow it, then it can instantly become ginormous heaven-reaching trees. From the moment the opponent made the first attack, she had already set up the array. How do you know? Another asked. When the masked man made his first move, and when she discovered that his earth elemental energy element was near Great Achievement Realm, her hands beneath her sleeves began to pinch seals. But you all just didn't notice. Then when she landed on the ground beneath the city wall first and waited, she was already arranging an array. When the masked man entered the battle area she arranged, it then became her main battlefield. He said with certainty in his tone, just wait, she can definitely toy that kid to death by using the wood inhibits earth principle of the 5 elements mutual inhibition principle. The strong and muscular elderly man said it excitedly, as if Lu Muyen was about to win. After listening to the words of the elder of the 8 Extremes sect, the elders of the other sects also had a realization. At this time, all the people present no longer underestimated Lu Muyen. This girl was so young, but was actually so intelligent and mature. It was extremely rare among the younger generation, and was indeed worth raising. The elder of the medicine sect looked at Lu Muyen with even fierier eyes. Although she used an array to control those seeds, but she definitely grew them with the wood attribute elemental energy. If she showed the talent of fire attribute elemental energy, then she must be an alchemist. She moved. The elder of the sword sect said with interest. The attention of the others was all on the crystal wall again. Lu Muyen controlled the grown tree seeds to surround the man. The tree seeds moved in the soil, and the branches whipped the man like sharp weapons. He mobilized the elemental energy in his body to gather in his longsword, and yellowish-brown sword auras slashed down one after the other, but they were all blocked by the branches and vines. For some reason, the sword aura couldn't hurt these trees at all, as if they were innately inhibited. Just what did you do? Che-Jin looked at Lu Muyen angrily. Lu Muyen's lips curled up. Haven't you ever heard of the principle of 5 elements mutual inhibition and enhancement? I'll explain to you using facts about the law that would inhibits earth, and you'll be able to die peacefully down in the 9 springs 1. Her voice was clear and beautiful, pouring out slowly, but the words she uttered made one chill irresistibly. Die! Lu Muyen returned Che-Jin's words back to him, and no one noticed that a few vines appeared on the branches and leaves of the heaven-reaching trees, accompanying the dancing branches, bounding Che-Jin that had failed to dodge. Che-Jin's eyes revealed some madness. Elemental energy poured out from his dantian, and he was ready to use his strongest trump card. Shue, hurry up, he's going to use his trump card. Lu Muyan's eyes were indifferent as she telepathically said to the human-eating blood thornvine king. Shue was just waiting for those words. This man dared to birth the desire of killing his owner, then had suck his blood little by little, and let him die in fear. The dark thorns in the vines quickly stabbed into Che-Jin's body, and the paralyzing venom instantly spread all over his body, causing his wildly surging elemental energy to suddenly stop. For the first time, there was panic in his eyes, and he wanted to shout to Yi Zhao and the others, but found that he couldn't even speak. Then his pupils constricted, and the blood essence from his body was lost little by little, all of which was absorbed by the plant that bound him. An infinite fear was born in his heart, and an aura of death enveloped him. In just a moment, Che-Jin's eyes changed from panic to fear and finally to despair. When the last drop of blood essence in his body was sucked dry, his eyes were wide open, an expression mixed with fear and disbelief, dying completely without an aura left. Lu Muyan glanced coldly at the shriveled corpse. She naturally had no mercy for people who wanted to kill her. She waved her hand and the heaven-reaching trees withered and fell, finally turning into a few bright yellow seeds that fell back into her hands. No one noticed that one of the seeds was glowing with golden light. Shue was a Tier 6 demonic plant. Although he couldn't change shape, but he still had the means of camouflage. It was still very easy for him to change his golden vines to green and use the cover of the heaven-reaching trees. None of the sword masters present discovered his existence. This was also one of the reasons why Lu Muyan used the wood growth array she had raised for a long time to kill Che-Jin. The blood essence of a human sword master was purer than that of a demonic beast, and would be more beneficial to Shue when absorbed. Since they were enemies that would not stop until one was dead, then naturally he should make a contribution and serve as nourishment for her demonic plant. She would never bully the weak and kill unrelated lives at will, but if others dared to take the initiative to have ideas about her, and acted with killing intent, then she would definitely never make them feel good. Seeing that after Che-Jin was surrounded by a few huge trees, there was only a shriveled corpse left behind, Yi Zhao and the others revealed disbelief. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. How is this possible? Che-Jin was at middle phase sword monarch strength, and he usually killed no less than a few thousand people. He had very rich combat experience, so how could he be killed by a woman who was only at peak phase sword king? The sword masters on the city wall also revealed a look as if they had seen a ghost. Just like this, the situation was reversed? What kind of skill did that woman use? It was actually this powerful. Demon woman too, what have you done? Yi Zhao turned to look at Lu Muyan sternly while fighting against Yun Ziema. Lu Muyan raised her brows. This was the first time someone actually called her demon woman. And that title didn't seem so bad. Wouldn't you know if you personally come to experience it yourself? She didn't plan on letting these people go at all. The invasive gaze that Yi Zhao looked at her with, and the greed in those eyes, she saw it clearly. He probably also aimed at her footwork and her body refining method. It was normal for people to be greedy, but they'd be out of luck to have ideas about her things. She tossed the seeds that hadn't yet been put away in her palm forward, and after they landed, she used the wood attribute spiritual energy to grow them. In an instant, heaven-reaching huge trees emerged all around Yi Zhao one after another, their branches swaying ceaselessly. Yi Zhao's eyes revealed some contemplation. Then he quickly retreated, but the big trees continued to follow as if alive. Remembering what Lu Muyan said about the 5-element mutual inhibition law, his eyes suddenly lit up, and a sinister smile appeared. You killed Che-Jin just now with the law of wood inhibiting earth. Then I will let your trees taste the effect of metal attribute restraint. Yi Zhao let out a laugh, and a red gold token flew out of his hand. The palm-sized token suddenly grew larger in midair, and traces of metal attribute emanated from it. The surrounding trees that were originally moving suddenly trembled slightly, and their roots that were deeply embedded into the soil could no longer move. Seeing that Yi Zhao suppressed Lu Muyan's skill, the other four heaved a sigh of relief. The sudden death of Che Jin just now gave them an unprecedented sense of fear. Your Royal Highness, tear her body into thousands of pieces to avenge Che Jin. A big man who usually had a good relationship with Che Jin shouted. The person he fought against was Lu Mu Bai, and his indifferent eyes were filled with chills. Go and accompany him. Little sister was his scale on a dragon that no one should touch 3. And once touched, they must die. After speaking, a palm-sized blood person escaped from his hand, and instantly turned into a blood giant several feet tall, filled with a sense of oppression. The big man with strength of a middle-phase sword monarch was taken aback by this sudden blood giant. He didn't expect that this handsome, mild man could actually use the blood temple skill, for that had been lost for thousands of years. The blood giant's eyes were dark, like an endless void that could suck people in. After the big man met his eyes, he was dazed for a few breaths of time. The last thing one should do during a battle was to be distracted, so in those few breaths of time, a huge bloody hand with the power of destroying the heavens and earth slapped down heavily, and instantly smacked the big man into the ground, his body deformed, and vomiting blood. And no one saw that a golden vine slipped out from under where the big man laid, and stabbed directly into his heart. Blood was lost little by little, and his aura of life also gradually disappeared. When the last drop of blood essence in his body was sucked dry, the vine retracted into the ground with satisfaction, as if it had never appeared before. Meanwhile, such a scene instantly stunned everyone present. Come True 19 Springs refers to the netherworld, basically death. There's probably a story behind it why it's the 9 springs, but not bothered searching it up haha. 2 literally demon woman. It can also be taken to mean beautiful/seductive woman, but in this case, he's calling her a monster/demon for performing what he probably thinks is witchcraft haha, since what she did was just so unbelievable. 3 It's Nilin, which just means reverse scale, or a scale that grew incorrectly. Figuratively, it's a scale on a dragon one cannot touch. It's also used to describe a person's weak point, like how LMY is like LMB's weak point, but not necessarily used with a negative connotation, and instead, in a more you touch, you die sense ha ha ha. Like someone touched your nerves. It's usually used in circumstances like Lu Mu Bei's, and usually as a threat. 4 Shua Cha Shu. The cha, when pronounced sha, literally translates to break, like break on a car. But I am pretty sure it is meant to be pronounced cha here, which has to do with like a Buddhist temple or shrine or something. Well, that'll be the set translation for now ha ha ha. Chapter 194. Where did this little monster come from? The blood-colored giant turned its head, its empty dark eyes like a dark bottomless pit, and those who were swept by it couldn't help but feel a chill down their spines. It took a step forward, then a few more steps. Then his body gradually shrank and finally turned into a drop of blood essence that merged into Lu Mu Bei's forehead. The elders of the 6 major sects in the castle were all dazed. Is this the blood temple skill that has been lost for thousands of years? An elder of the Spirit Tamer sect asked with wide eyes. The others also echoed in agreement. It seemed that there were many people with special hidden talents this year. The serene eyes of the first elder of the heavenly secret palace rippled, and he said slowly, "It is indeed the blood temple skill that has been lost for thousands of years, and he has already mastered the essence of the blood temple skill, and will no longer be backlashed, or has already been backlashed but has survived. I heard that the future achievements of a sword master, who knows the blood temple skill, could not be estimated. His talent can also be ranked in the top 200 among the contestants. If he can advance into the final 100, then he is a good seedling worthy to raise." The elder of the vast mountain sect stroked his beard, and there was a gleam of interest in his eyes. The other elders also noted down Lu Mu Bai in their hearts, and placed him on the list of priorities to pay attention to. On the battlefield of the plains, seeing that their elite team lost another person, Yi Zhao was furious, mixed with heart palpitations of fear. He raised his hand and stretched out 2 fingers to point towards the sky. Several beams of golden light burst out from his fingertips, and the metal elemental energy amplified onto the pure gold token. In an instant, the pure gold token glowed brightly, enveloping the several trees around him, and half of the trees in the array withered immediately after encountering the golden light. Today, I will deal with you as you've done to us, and let you have a taste of the method of death, using the 5 elements mutual inhibition. The corner of Yi Zhao's mouth raised into an arc of definitive victory. His 2 fingers moved again, and several beams of golden light burst out again to support the pure gold token. The token swirled a few times in the air, and a light instantly enveloped all the trees. After the golden light passed, the trees quickly withered and turned into ashes. The people standing on the city wall watched the 2 parties fight, and couldn't help but think deeply. So it turned out that the law of the 5 elements mutual inhibition could be used in this way. Seeing that Yi Zhao had the upper hand, many sword masters looked at Lu Mu Yan with pity in their eyes. It was a pity for this woman with extraordinary talent and an outstanding temperament to fall like this. But they only just thought about it, and they didn't dare interfere. I will also let you experience the taste of your body becoming shriveled. Yi Zhao licked his chapped lips, and a sense of pleasure of when he was about to kill the enemy filled his heart. Yes, he had a special hobby, and that was he liked to use various means to abuse and kill his enemies, torturing them to death and fear. Lu Mu Yan's expression was filled with coldness. The members of the 2 teams of the EC Empire reeked of blood and viciousness, which indicated that they were usually not some good people. Even if they didn't do evil, there were definitely still a lot of people who died in their hands. This Yi Zhao even had a hobby of torturing one to death. Truly, he wouldn't be innocent even after dying 10,000 times. Really? Then I sure want to try it. Lu Mu Yan's face revealed some ridicule. Yi Zhao saw that she was unhurried and calm, and even had ridicule on her lips. His heart skipped a beat, and a bad premonition spread all over his heart. Who knew that the good didn't answer him, but the bad did? When he saw the proud and stunning woman opposite flip her jade hand, and a cluster of crimson flames jumped around her palm, he knew that things were turning bad. Fire elemental energy? Yi Zhao took a few steps back, looking defensive. You actually comprehended 3 elemental attributes. This wasn't a question, but an affirmation. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, the magic tool used by this woman was the metal attribute. She just used wood elemental energy to germinate the seeds. And now she also displayed the fire attribute elemental energy. This was all too unacceptable. Aside from Yi Zhao, who couldn't believe it, everyone else watching the battle looked at the cluster of flames in Lu Mu Yan's hand in shock. Was this the so-called favored child of heaven? Did they not want people to live anymore? It seemed that she was only around 16 years old, and her cultivation base was at peak phase Sword King, which already had her belong to the best among geniuses. Yet who knew that she also comprehended 3 attributes of elemental energy law? Most importantly, she was very proficient in using any of the attributes, whether it was metal, wood, or fire. So she didn't just comprehend them to the most superficial beginner realm, but instead she comprehended it at least to the understanding realm, or even above. The comprehension of elemental energy attribute law was also divided into several realms, those being the beginner's realm, the understanding realm, the great achievement realm 1, the perfection realm, and the harmony of human and nature realm. Many sword masters, even those among the genius generation, could only comprehend 2 elemental laws in their entire life. This woman's talent was truly abnormally monstrous. Lu Mu Yan turned a blind eye to those scorching gazes. She curled the corners of her lips and smiled, like a hibiscus rising from the water, beautiful and unparalleled. Bing Ji on her shoulder held a moment of silence for the man opposite. Once little owner revealed such a smile, the other party would definitely become miserable. Sure enough, after her blooming smile, her wrist moved with the wind, and with a simple wave, fire lotuses with fiery energy floated down from the air. One after another, they turned into crimson glows that lit up more than half the sky above their heads in red. Within 500 li, the temperature was constantly rising, and even brought along a very oppressive atmosphere. Lu Mu Yan's fire elemental energy had already reached a height in comprehension, plus, Under the influence of the purple-gold spirit flame within her, the fire elemental energy condensation was not what it once was. There was a majestic, vast power hidden in the blossoming red lotuses, which was enough to shock the world. What? She actually comprehended the fire element to the great achievement realm. Where did this little monster come from? How abnormally monstrous. The strong and muscular elderly man from the Eight Extremes sect stood up with his hands on the chair in front of him and exclaimed. The medicine sect's elder's eyes were bright and scorching hot. This girl was definitely an alchemist. Even if she wasn't, she would also be a good seedling for alchemy. The other elders of the 6 major sects in the castle were also stunned. Did this girl's talent need to be so heaven-defying? It made them have the urge to run into the competition area and bring her back to the sect to raise right now. As long as she didn't fall, she would definitely be one of the peerless geniuses birthed by the end of this Tianling continent tournament for hegemony. Yizhao's heart was beating violently. The fire lotuses felt so strange to him, and the metal elemental energy in his body even felt frozen. This was precisely the suppression of the 5 elements' mutual inhibition. He took a deep breath, and his eyes revealed a fierceness and craziness. He didn't want to die no matter what, so he could only use that trump card skill. There was also a hint of regret inside. He shouldn't have listened to Huang Qian'er's instigation and acted against these people. With a beckon of his hand, the pure gold token immediately returned to his hand, and he quickly muttered a difficult incantation. The golden token in his hand suddenly entered his body with a shui and merged with it. Then Yizhao's height began to skyrocket in an instant. His muscles shattered his clothes, revealing golden skin all over his body, and even the color of his hair and pupils turned pure gold. His entire body was dozens of times taller than ordinary people, and looked like a burly, tall, golden giant. The people around sucked in a deep breath. What sort of method was this? Come true one, yeah. So this is the chapter 1. Realized I needed to correct my translation on perfection to Great Achievement Realm LOL. So yeah, just know that she is currently at the Great Achievement Realm, and the Perfection Realm is now a different realm that's above the Great Achievement Realm. Chapter 195. Come out. Qilin Fire Ray Yizhao turned into a golden giant, shocking everyone. Lu Muyen felt the metal attribute fluctuations coming from him, which was exactly the same as the pure gold token, and she understood. You are indeed good to have made me use this trump card. Yizhao's golden eyes were gradually replaced by ferocity and blurriness. Then he roared, I'll tear you all to pieces. After he turned into a golden giant, even his voice had a metallic texture, which sounded very strange. The pure gold token already destroyed most of his mind. Kill him quickly, otherwise when all his reason is replaced by rage, he'll really just become a puppet. Mo Yin watched Yizhao gravely, and telepathically transmitted to Lu Muyen. Lu Muyen also felt the metal attribute aura of the other party increasing in strength. It was only a matter of time before Yizhao became a puppet. Do you know what the pure gold token is? She had a feeling that Mo Yin knew. A good thing. But that person just didn't use it correctly. Remember to secretly put away the token after killing him. Mo Yin reminded. Lu Muyan's eyes were clear and bright. When Mo Yin said something was good, then it was definitely extraordinary. Boom boom. The golden giant strode towards Lu Muyen. Each step he took, the ground under his feet would tear apart a small ravine. Boom! With a loud bang, Yizhao's golden fist swung at Lu Muyan's head. Lu Muyen tapped her toes and quickly retreated to the back, utilizing her flash steps incessantly, avoiding the powerful attacks of the golden giant. But she wasn't idle either while dodging. Her hands were constantly pinching seals, and she was chanting spells. The earth trembled constantly, and even spread to the nearby battlefield. Yun Zimo's opponent was originally Yizhao, but after Lu Muyen took over his enemy, he joined Yun Lan's battle to help. After Lu Mubai killed the big man, he also helped Qi Yixian to besiege the other person. Fu Chun was the most inconspicuous, but his combat power wasn't weak. The elite member of the EC Empire used many means, but still wasn't able to suppress him. The only difference was one party wanted to kill the other party immediately, while the other couldn't do it within a short time. After turning into a 2-on-1, the victory of the battle tipped to one side. When another team member was lost, and the other two saw that Yi Zhao had lost his mind, they all wanted to flee. It was a pity that under 5 against 2, under the absolute suppression of the number of people, the two people's lives were also quickly harvested. The two were left with their last breath and fell to the ground. Then they benefited the human-eating blood Thornvine King, who quietly snuck out of the ground. "You all go back to the city," Lu Muyen shouted to the several people, while dodging the attack of the golden giant. The several people also knew that staying might not be of much help to her, so they exchanged a glance, then jumped over towards the wall to watch the battle. Lu Muyan's combat power was much stronger than theirs, plus with the additional help of her spirit pets and her numerous means, they might only be doing a disservice if they help in battle. Boom boom! The fists of the golden giant slammed down with the most primitive metal attribute power. The ground shook ceaselessly as cracks and ravines spread all over the area outside the city, making people's scalp numb. Why doesn't the girl use close-quarters combat tactics? She can't win by evading like this at all. An elder from the Spirit Tamer sect asked with furrowed brows. If Lu Muyen died just like this, then it would be such a pity. The elder of the vast mountain sect glanced at him and said, "Do you think she's an invincible fortress? That kid from the EC Empire, right now, has a real layer of metal on his body. If she fought close-quarters combat, then the little girl will definitely lose. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, don't worry. I've already said that the little girl is most suitable for our 8 Extremes sect." The elder of the 8 Extremes sect had an expression of pride. Seeing everyone look at him, he slowly said, "She's arranging an array. Just watch." If it weren't that he was also proficient in arrays, then even he wouldn't be able to see that the little girl only a Pareto look, as if she was in a sorry state while dodging, but she was in fact actually quietly setting up an array. It truly was brilliant. After the several people listened to what he said, they also watched carefully, and as expected, they saw that while running away, the hands beneath her sleeves were constantly pinching seals. A calm mind and excelling talent. She really is suitable for our sword cultivator path. The elder of the sword sect revealed a domineering look in his eyes. While Lu Muyen was pinching seals, what she stood on was precisely the 10 flying swords that had combined to form a long sword. To be able to fly on a sword at Sword King stage, it could be seen that she also had a deep comprehension of the path of the sword. Rubbish to say she's suitable for the path of the sword. If this little girl goes to your sword sect, then she'd be ruined. The elder of the 8 Extremes sect pursed his lips and said, "At first glance, it could be seen that this girl had an optimistic and cheerful personality. If she went to a place like the sword sect, that always required a sense of seriousness and integrity, then she would probably suffocate to death. Moreover, it could be seen that the little girl was the type to have a belly filled with bad water one. She was definitely the type to seek revenge for just an angry look, and was very black-bellied and crafty. Even going to the heavenly secret palace was more suitable than going to the sword sect. Going to your 8 Extremes sect would truly ruin her." With one look it was obvious the elder of the sword sect didn't know how to bicker, so he snorted coldly and managed those few words. "Your sword sect." The two quarreled a bit more, then was finally stopped by the elder of the heavenly secret palace. "Stop quarreling. If she can make it into the top 100, then you can go find a way to contend for her. By then, it would be up to her to choose too. Whatever you say is useless right now." The top 10 finals of the Continental Tournament for Hegemony were qualified to choose their own sects. And there were also a small number of pupils with outstanding talent and special abilities who weren't in the top 10, but were among the top 100, that the 6 major sects would also make exceptions for to choose their own sect. Therefore, as long as Lu Muyen could enter the top 100, the 6 major sects could make an exception for her to choose her own sect. After all, every sect wanted to contend for her, no? Lu Muyen, who was currently fighting fiercely, didn't know at all that she had become a delicious cake too in the eyes of the elders of the 6 major sects. She wheezed lightly. The strength of the golden giant, that Yizhao transformed into truly was too strong. If she couldn't dodge in time and really received a punch, then even with her tough body, she would probably be seriously injured. And each time, although the golden giant looked as if he waved his punches in a cumbersome manner, but the fist wind that carried the metal element law still made her miserable. The sorry state when dodging wasn't her pretending. The golden giant really was difficult to deal with. Boom! Several violent fist winds broke through the air again. Lu Muyen borrowed the fluctuations of the fist wind to be knocked back dozens of meters, and lured the golden giant into the place where the fighting started. Seeing that the time was ripe, she instantly exuded a radiance of self-confidence, which formed a sharp contrast to her previous sorry state. "Come out, Qilin fire array," Lu Muyen whispered, her hands forming seals, and an array flag appeared in her hand. Flutter, flutter, flutter. She waved the black array flag a few times. Then suddenly countless clusters of crimson flames burst out from the ground in all directions of the golden giant. Bang! After a loud noise at the foot of the golden giant, blossoming red fire lotuses drifted with the wind down from the sky, alluring and beautiful. The lotuses stopped in midair and gradually merged together. A Qilin divine beast composed purely of flames, the same size as the golden giant, revealed itself. Come true, one filled with mischievous, even evil ideas. 2. It's from a dialect in China, and has become a more colloquial saying, simply meaning a person who's very popular. Chapter 196. One fight to fame. A Qilin divine beast composed purely of flames, the same size as the golden giant, revealed itself. The golden giant instinctively took a step back. Yizhao still retained some of his reason. He discovered that the fire Qilin opposite him was a threat to him. The fire Qilin was composed of Lu Muyan's fire elemental energy condensation, which consumed a lot of her spiritual energy. She discovered that she could only barely construct this array, but couldn't utilize its full powers. However, it was more than enough to deal with this golden giant. She took out a few bottles of spiritual energy replenishing pills and poured them into her mouth to devour and refine. Such a move made the lips of those watching the battle twitch. Those weren't candy, those were pills. Could you not be so extravagant? When the spiritual energy in her body returned to its peak state, the array flag in Lu Muyan's hand shook a few times. It'll let you deeply understand what's called 5 elements mutual inhibition. After she finished speaking, she channeled spiritual energy into the array flag. The array flag flew up into the sky and landed over the array, slowly unfolding. The black cloth flag exuded a faint soft light, and a layer of a jade-colored rune belt wound around the black flagpole continuously. Feeling the soft light above, it was as if the fire Qilin had been channeled with life force. It roared a few times before raising its claws and rushed towards the golden giant. If it weren't for the body composed of flames, the movements and form would be indistinguishable between real or fake. Although the golden giant felt a slight tremor of fear towards the fire Qilin, but he didn't show any signs of cowering. He raised his giant palm and slapped towards the fire Qilin. The fire Qilin didn't dodge. After the palm slapped down, its body actually scattered inch by inch. Everyone watching the battle was very shocked. The fire Qilin rushed forward filled with valor and vigor, but lost just like this? Then the body that shattered inch by inch turned into fire lotuses, and the petals bloomed one by one, giving people a very bewitching, devilish feeling. After the fire lotuses bloomed, the array flag above waved spontaneously. The fire lotuses merged together again, turning into the appearance of a Qilin divine beast once more. More importantly, this time, its size and pressure were even larger and stronger. In this way, the golden giant kept smashing the fire Qilin. The fire Qilin would scatter and combine without stopping, then eventually began to take the initiative to pounce onto the golden giant and bite down. Around a cup of tea's time passed, and there were many pits and hollows on the golden giant's body that had been bitten and corroded by the fire Qilin. After all, the golden giant was transformed from Yizhao's body as the foundation with the support from the secret skill. So each time a piece was bitten off, Some bloodstains would appear in that place. After another quarter of an hour, the golden giant had been torn open by the fire Qilin in many places, and he couldn't stop shrieking. Lu Muyin knew that the perfect time had come. She formed a Taoist seal with her hands, snapped her fingers, and a jade-colored rune seal, one the size of a palm, merged into the fire Qilin. The fire Qilin didn't combine again in the last resistance of the golden giant. Just when everyone was curious, the scattered lotus petals fell off piece by piece, as if they were withering. The crimson petals fluttered and fell everywhere. Many people couldn't help but admire the scenery, made from fire elemental energy condensation. Only the golden giant's pupils constricted, and he turned around without hesitating, wanting to run away. The petals in the air were as if they had already known, and the pieces flew down and melted into his body. Shrills after shrills of screaming rang out. The sound was no longer the same metallic feel it was before, but instead it was precisely Yi Zhao's voice. The shrill cries grew louder and louder, making countless sword masters' scalps numb from the sound, with chills on their backs. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. In the end, all the petals fell and enveloped the golden-colored giant. It was impossible to see just what happened to the person under the petals. The clusters of flames that emerged from the earth leapt around and finally turned into a red light, entering the golden giant's body. The screams gradually weakened. Then, everyone watched the raging fire ignite on the golden giant, melting it little by little. This array is so terrifying. Most of the sword masters standing on the city wall originally didn't know this was an array created by Lu Muyin, and only realized when the array flag appeared. The sword master standing beside him took a long time to recover and said, "The person controlling the array is actually the terrifying one, all right? How's she terrifying? She's obviously such a beautiful woman capable of causing the downfall of a kingdom. I'm talking about her strength being terrifying, not her appearance." Finally, in the central area under the city wall, everyone watched the fire gradually diminish. Lu Muyin narrowed her eyes, and with a thought, the jade rune that had been inserted into the fire Qilin turned into a very thin rune belt and wrapped around the pure gold token, dragging it underground. Then, the token was temporarily swallowed by Xue Xue, who had long been waiting underground. In such a series of transfers, apart from the otherworldly-looking, handsome man in white in the castle that discovered it, even the elders of the 6 major sects didn't realize it. The white-clothed man curled his lips. His woman was indeed smart. After the golden giant on the ground disappeared, Lu Muyin waved her hand, and the black array flag above flew into her hands. After putting away the array flag, she snapped her fingers, and the burning flames disappeared in an instant completely, as if it had never appeared before. Except for a pile of ashes on the ground, there was no more of the figure of the golden giant Yi Zhao. Lu Muyin didn't walk near that place either. She closed her eyes and flipped her jade hands. The bright yellow seeds that were buried deep in the ground, and the seed hidden within that carried a slightly golden light, returned to her hands. She didn't remain any longer, and walked into the city, as if taking a leisurely stroll in a courtyard. The rooms in the inns were already full, so she went straight to the resting area on the city wall to meditate and recover. "Yin, are you all right?" Lu Mubai asked with concern in his eyes. Lu Muyin smiled lightly and said, "I'm fine, but it seems we won't be able to head out tonight." The elemental law contained in the golden color of the golden giant was too strong. It seemed as if she didn't take much effort to destroy it, but it actually consumed a lot of spiritual energy and vitality. This time, she needed a day off to recover. "You can recover at ease," Yun Ziemo said with a light smile, and went to meditate not far away to guard her. Seeing this, the several other people also sat cross-legged around her to prevent others from coming to find trouble. But they didn't know that the sword masters in this city had long been stunned by Lu Muyin's methods. They were just afraid that while she looked like a docile rabbit, she would then suddenly turn into a powerful, terrorizing tigress. As if they dared to go up to offend. The elders of the 6 major sects in the castle had different expressions, and they all had their own little plans in their minds. But the desire for Lu Muyin to enter their own sects not only didn't weaken, but instead strengthened. Except, during the competition, they weren't allowed to appear outside. So, when they left, they all used special methods to contact some of the predetermined students in the competition space. Because the city where the battle took place was a medium-sized city, and it was a battle before nightfall, so many sword masters who came to take refuge saw the battle between the two teams. Lu Muyan's battle this time was spread by the sword masters who watched the battle in the city through various means. Her name spread to every city in the competition space, and became the object of discussion among many sword masters. This time, even if she wanted to keep a low profile, she wouldn't be able to do it. One fight to fame was just like this, crazy, domineering, and proud. Come true. Chapter 197. The pure gold token had a secret. The spiritual energy in Lu Muyan's body had practically been exhausted, and her spirit was also a little sluggish. She took out a few bottles of spiritual energy replenishing pills and took them, causing many sword masters in the resting area to twitch their lips irresistibly again. How many bottles of pills did this woman have? Was it really good to waste so luxuriously? The fragrance of the pills overflowed from the bottle and lingered in the entire resting area. The sword masters who were resting and meditating next to them opened their eyes one after another, just wishing to snatch the pill bottle from her, so that she wouldn't waste it like this. Only after Lu Muyan took a few bottles of spiritual energy replenishing pills was the emptied spiritual energy replenished by a lot. The effect of grade 2 spiritual energy replenishing pills to replenish spiritual energy for her had already weakened a lot. It seemed that she had to find the sea serene herb to refine the grade 3 spiritual energy return pill. Discovering that the eyes that were looking at her were too scorching, she decided that it was best to find an inn to live in when it was dawn. But before dawn, a pained cry from Shue Shue sounded in her sea of consciousness. "Owner, I can't take it anymore." Lu Muyan asked in confusion. "What you can't take anymore?" "The metal attribute of the token you had me swallow is too strong. My demonic energy is not only suppressed by it, but I even feel that the wood spiritual force in my body is slowly drained." Shue Shue's voice was slightly hoarse. Lu Muyan opened her eyes abruptly. Now wasn't an appropriate time to take the token out in front of so many people to examine it. She stood up and said to Yun Zmo and the others, "I want to go wash up, let's go to an inn to stay." It was almost dawn now, and there wouldn't be any more demonic beast groups appearing. Many sword masters had already packed up and left to earn points, so the inns would also have free rooms. The several people didn't know why she was so sudden, but none of them asked, and they all stood up and left the resting area together. In fact, Lu Muyan's scruples were correct. After they went to the city wall resting area after the battle, many sword masters went to the battle area, as if to look for something. The pile of ashes on the ground was also turned over countless times before finally being scattered by the wind. Even the elders of the 6 major sects had been monitoring the battle area, only to withdraw their attention when they found that the pure gold token that Yi Zhao fused with couldn't be found. Those who coveted the pure gold token guessed that it was either merged together with Yi Zhao, or was burned to ashes by Lu Muyan's elemental energy flame, which was a pity. Many people saw that Lu Muyan and the others didn't take anything with them before leaving, not even the enemy's interspatial ring. So the sword masters who were rummaging for things also wanted the interspatial rings of the few that died along with the golden token. But they were doomed to have searched in vain. At this time, many sword masters left the inn and went out of the city, so they also successfully found a few vacant rooms. Lu Muyan addressed the other people, then went into her room and set up a spirit-proof array to isolate all sounds and mental energy from entering and disturbing. With a thought, Shue Shue appeared in the room. The humanized face on his trunk was currently filled with a pained expression. "Owner, it's so uncomfortable, I can't spit out that token anymore." Lu Muyan's eyes narrowed, and she placed her hands on Shue Shue. When she found the location of the pure gold token, she forced it out with her spiritual energy. While holding the token, she didn't withdraw her hand, but instead operated her dantian and channeled slivers of spiritual energy with the green fog into the human-eating blood thornvine king's body. The golden body that had dimmed a lot gradually regained its luster, and many soft shoots grew on his body. Such channeling lasted around more than 2 hours. Only when her spiritual energy was about to be exhausted did she withdraw her hand. Shue moved his vines comfortably, and it was a lie to say that he wasn't touched. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. After Lu Muyen took out the token, she didn't check it immediately, but instead used the pure spiritual energy in her body to heal his wounds. Now he wasn't only healed, but the bottleneck that he was stuck at just collapsed, and he successfully advanced to middle phase tier 6. Of course, to be able to advance so quickly, aside from Lu Muyan's special spiritual energy, it was also inseparable from the recent absorption of large amounts of blood essence. Owner! Shue waved his vines to hug Lu Muyan, and even wanted to rub his head against her like Bingji did. Go over there to consolidate your cultivation base. Lu Muyan rolled her eyes at him, and immediately waved away his vines. Why did all her spirit pets besides Mo Yen like to rub against her? Then Shue found that both Bingji and Mo Yen were throwing a look of cold knives at him. He swallowed and moved his rhizome to a corner to consolidate his cultivation, cursing the two beasts over and over inwardly. Both desirable shoulders of Owner were occupied by the two beasts, and all he wanted was to get close to Owner, yet they tossed cold gazes at him. They were truly hateful. Mo Yen, do you think this is a token to open some place? Lu Muyen flipped over the pure gold token, just feeling that it wasn't that simple, and was hiding some kind of secret. There was a smile in Mo Yan's light eyes. Although I don't know what place this token opens, but it's definitely worthy entering. Even you don't know where? Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow. Don't know. It's not like I'm familiar with Tianling continent. He wasn't as familiar with this small interface as Lu Muyen was, who had read the continental records. Seeing her think deeply, he continued in a light tone. It could be a secret realm, it could be an inheritance place, or it could also be a secret space somewhere. Either way, any such places had endless benefits. Lu Muyen played with the pure gold token in her hand. She keenly found that there was an array in it, and it was also a very advanced array. But because her mental energy hadn't yet woken up to be able to probe into it, she could only temporarily give up. Although the array methods of this continent weren't as comprehensive as those she had, but there were also many that she hadn't seen before. Just like the image reflection array that Mo Yin spoke of that day. A desire to explore also rose in her heart. The metal element in this token even made Shue unable to stand it. I sure am really looking forward to the day it will actually be used. She put away the pure gold token, and there was just a feeling in her heart that she would use it one day. Mo Yin glanced at the human-eating blood thornvine king in the corner, who was consolidating his cultivation, and spit out some words. Too weak. Shue was still soaking in the excitement of having advanced, but when he suddenly heard Boss Yan's words, it was instantly like a bucket of cold water was poured over him. And whatever passion was all gone. Haha, Shue is a weak chicken to begin with. Bingji was rarely able to watch someone else's joke. Mo Yen looked askance at him. His combat power right now is no weaker than yours. Bingji chalked. Well, for me, isn't it all because my demonic energy was sealed by Owner's man? So how can I compare to that weak chicken? You, a tier 8 demonic beast, was even one stage higher than that person's cultivation base. Yet you still had your demonic energy sealed. You sure aren't embarrassed to say it. Mo Yin snorted coldly. It really was losing the face of divine beasts. Well, that man's just an abnormal monster after all. When you fight him one day you'll know. When mentioning the battle that day, he still felt a chill in his heart. It would be best not to provoke that man in the future anymore. Shue had a face of grievance. This was basically getting stabbed even when he was lying down minding his own business. Lu Muyen rolled her eyes at Bingji. What did he mean by her man? Then she watched the two beasts bicker in amusement. She was also very curious about how Ming Xiu defeated Bingji that day. Each time this stinky bird mentioned the events of that day, it was like he still had lingering fears. Come true. 1. A slight change to the popular colloquial saying / internet slang in China, literally translating to get shot by a gun, even when lying down. Basically meaning to be implicated in something by just being there / while minding their own business. Obviously guns don't quite exist in this world, so knives it is, ha ha ha. Chapter 198. Dividing the spoils and intercepting. Having channeled her purest spiritual energy in her body to the human-eating blood thorn vine king, she only recovered a little more than half when night arrived, so they didn't set out that night. The next day, Lu Muyen was still recovering. She continuously absorbed the spiritual force of heaven and earth from all directions. The bottleneck at peak phase Sword King had appeared, and as long as an opportunity came, she could advance to Sword Monarch. After entering Sword Monarch, the condensed fire elemental energy would be even purer, and she would be able to refine several grade 3 pills. Seeing Lu Muyen was still cultivating, Lu Mubai and the others didn't disturb her either, and instead helped Lu Muyen sweep up the spiritual herbs and spars in the city. The battle performance of the few people the other day wasn't bad either, especially Lu Mubai and Yun Zimo's combat power, who made many sword masters of the same rank afraid, so they received a lot of attention wherever they went recently. We've also become famous under Lu Muyen's light. Fu Chen knew that the reputation of their team had spread to many cities already, plus the skyrocketing points, so there was probably no one in the competition space who didn't know the name Lu Muyen. Yun Zimo also found that this time, after coming to participate in the continental tournament for hegemony, his indifferent temperament had also changed a lot. As long as we follow her, there definitely wouldn't be any peaceful times, but such days aren't bad either. He used to only know how to meditate and cultivate or travel to dangerous places with few people to train. But he was very lonely. Now, although he very often might lose his life, but it made him feel very fulfilled. That's true. Either way, we didn't come in vain. Fu Chen smiled elegantly, his bookish aura still very strong. After returning to the inn, the several people were called into the room by Lu Muyen. She took out a pot of spiritual wine made from blood thorn vines, and poured a glass for each of them. Then she raised her glass and said with a smile, "Congratulate us beforehand in advancing into the top 10. Yun Zmo and the others didn't disappoint either, and they smiled, catering to her. They thought it was very likely for Lu Muyen to make it into the top 10, while their goal was more realistic, and that was to advance to the top 100. We're really lucky to have formed a team with you, Lu Muyen. Not only do we have pills to use, but we can also drink a cup of this kind of good wine every day. It sure was worth coming here this time." Fu Chen took a sip of spiritual wine from his cup, sighing with emotion. He sometimes even wondered if this woman had anything she couldn't do. "That's true. You will have meat to eat if you follow this young Mississippi." Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow and smiled, saying. Lu Mubai looked at her in amusement. "You sure aren't humble. Why would we have meat to eat if we follow you?" "Dividing the spoils, of course." Lu Muyen blinked mischievously like a thief at the several people. "You can have meat to eat now." "Dividing the spoils?" The several people looked at her in confusion. Lu Muyen spread out her palm in high spirits, and 6 interspatial rings appeared in the sight of the several people. "Aren't these the interspatial rings of those people from the EC Empire?" Yun Lan looked at the rings in her hand with a smile of understanding in his eyes. "No wonder those people searched the place where we were fighting over and found nothing. So it turned out that you had secretly taken them away. They went up to the city wall first, and after battling, they went to the resting area with Lu Muyen. None of them had any awareness of taking the other party's interspatial rings at all. After all, the few of them had never done something like killing and seizing others' treasures. It was only later, when they heard that many people were looking for the lost rings, did they realize how could they have forgotten about it. In the world of sword masters there was a tacit rule. After killing the opponent, the spoils belonged to oneself. After you all left, I got Shue to hide in the ground and took away all the spoils. Of course I can't benefit others." Lu Muyen said to the several people. "How about we divide the contents of the ring equally?" You can take an extra share. If you hadn't killed the prince of the EC Empire, we might not have one. Yun Ziemo suggested. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, the power of the golden giant wasn't something they could resist at all. Without Lu Muyen, they wouldn't be able to retreat completely against Yi Zhao at all. Yeah, you should get an extra share. The others echoed. Lu Muyen had a smile on her lips. She was quite satisfied with the characters of the people in this team. No one was too selfish. You don't need to give me an extra share. How about you just give me the spiritual herbs in these? The spirit tools and things like that just weren't up to her standards, and she didn't lack money either. When she left Luoshi City, she made a lot of money by selling 2 Tier 5 demonic beasts to the Yi Clan's Spurt pet shop. Otherwise it would have been impossible for her to sweep up every city she passed by. Sure, then that's decided. After night fell, the several people set out from the city and continued their journey at night. Watching Lu Muyen and the others leave, many sword masters in the city spread the news. I was just saying how their points could skyrocket so much, so it turned out that they set out at night. They really aren't afraid of death. A sword master who passed them by while entering the city to rest said with a sour tone. The person next to him smiled. If I had their combat ability, I'd also take the night road. Don't say that grapes are sour just because you couldn't eat them. One. Tisk, who's sour? I was just expressing my thoughts and feelings. After all, they may not even be able to escape a beast tide, even if their combat ability is good. Their points have been skyrocketing for almost half a month now. Maybe they already encountered a beast tide. In any case, it only shows that the strength of these people is indeed not as it appears on the surface. That woman named Lu Muyen is probably the dark horse in the first round of this competition. I'm also optimistic about her too. It's hard to say. After all, rumors are just rumors. We didn't personally see her fight the elite team of the EC Empire. We'll only know at the end of the competition. Such discussions about the few people could be heard all over the city, but many people scoffed at the rumors of the battle, thinking that these people were exaggerating. It was pretty good already that a peak phase sword king could kill a middle phase sword monarch, and maybe they even used some despicable means. How could it be as exaggerated as the rumors say? Mo Yen, look for a smaller medium-sized beast tide and let's kill it. After leaving the city, Lu Muyen said, small-sized beast tides were no longer difficult for them now, and also lost value for training and experience. Only in constantly dangerous battles could they improve their strength. Mo Yen nodded, closed his eyes, and released his demonic sense instantly. After a while, he opened his eyes and said, a medium-sized beast tide is currently gathering about 2 hours to the south, and they should be preparing to attack the city. If we arrive late, they might have already started attacking the city. Let's ride on Bingji to intercept it. The corners of Lu Muyen's lips curled up. They only meet such a large fish every few nights, so they couldn't possibly let it go. All right, Yun Ziemo and the others also revealed slight smiles, filled with fighting intent. Sitting on Bingji, it took only a quarter of an hour to arrive at the place where the beast tide gathered. As soon as they landed, the several people rushed into the beast tide, brandishing their swords. Shue Shue shouted excitedly, and fell in the central area to take root and prepare to suck to his fill. The few people fought heartily in the beast tide, but the people who had been waiting for a long time in the nearest city weren't so happy. Didn't young lord predict that there will be a beast tide coming tonight? Why can't we even see a shadow of one? Come true one means to say something is bad, just because they can't have it themselves. To describe someone who is very envious of others. Chapter 199. Flipping face is faster than flipping a book. Didn't young lord predict that there will be a beast tide attacking tonight? Why can't we even see a shadow of one? There were many people standing on the city wall of the large city, led by a man in silver clothes with eyes as clean as moonlight. He stood against the wind, his handsome face very calm. Hearing someone ask the question below, he stretched out his hand and pinched his fingers to calculate, then said slowly, the beast tide was intercepted by someone. His voice was clean and warm, clear and pleasant. What? Was intercepted by someone? A red-haired young man beside him asked. Eldest brother, who can intercept a beast tide? The silver-clothed man pondered for a moment and said, Lu Muyen. Lu Muyen? Is that the woman who was rumored to be amazing and seemingly divine? The red-haired young man's tone didn't question it, but he didn't quite believe it inwardly either. I received news tonight that their team came out of the refuge city to travel at night. It seems to be true. Another slightly older man said. In addition to the silver-clothed man's group, there were teams from many other kingdoms on the city wall as well. They all revealed confusion and disbelief. Even if Lu Muyen really had some abilities, it was still impossible to lead her team to battle a beast tide, right? Even Lord Luo here, from a superpower kingdom, probably wouldn't dare provoke a beast tide easily either. So how could a little girl who still smelt of one's mother's milk one dare be so bold? Luo Yi was also a little curious about the woman named Lu Muyen. He sure wanted to see just how they intercepted the beast tide. Well, no, once we go and take a look, he said lightly. He flew down the city wall, and his figure soon disappeared into the night. The people in the same team didn't hesitate either. They jumped off the city wall and leapt in the direction where Luo Yi had disappeared in. Let's also follow and go have a look. Someone on the city wall suggested. What should we do if we encounter a beast tide? I don't believe that a person from a small kingdom, named Lu Muyen, can really deal with the beast tide. Someone said. What are you afraid of? Even Lord Luo has gone. Even if we encounter a beast tide, with him there, we can still retreat safely. Another said excitedly. Forget it. When the time comes, we'll only fight for ourselves when we meet a beast tide. Once we're scattered, who'd still take care of who? Some people refused. In the end, only a portion of the sword masters who were bolder jumped off the city wall and followed in the footsteps of Lord Luo and the others. The remaining didn't have any heart to rest either, and stood on the city wall to await for news. When Luo Yi and his team members arrived at a canyon, they saw a scene that shocked them. Hundreds of demonic beasts ahead of them were constantly charging towards a center point, as if they didn't want their lives, and several silhouettes kept flashing about, quickly reaping the lives of the demonic beasts. By the moonlight, they saw a woman with a slender figure and ghost-like footwork, controlling 10 golden flying swords to fly among the demonic beasts ceaselessly. Wherever the flying swords passed, the roaring demonic beasts would fall one after another. Each sword was deadly, and all the stabs were at their vital points. There were also 5 men in the group of demonic beasts. Although their forms weren't as ghost-like as hers, but their speed in killing demonic beasts wasn't inferior to hers at all. Judging from the level of proficiency, this wasn't the first time they did such a thing at all. Isn't this too exaggerated? The red-haired young man who followed was dumbfounded, and watched the woman control the flying swords to kill demonic beasts, while bombarding demonic beasts with her fists to death. What was even more shocking was that the Tier 5 demonic beasts, under her fists, couldn't withstand even a single blow, and each slam of a fist killed one. Even when she faced a few leading Tier 6 demonic beasts, she still fought fiercely using her tough flesh, her ink-colored hair flying freely, uninhibited and wild. Although her movements were quite violent, but it actually gave people a pleasing sense of contrast. Was this still a woman? The young man swallowed. Weren't all women supposed to be delicate and beautiful, gentle and pleasant? At least he had never seen such a violent woman before. But why did an indescribable good feeling about her rise in his heart? Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, the women who had appeared in front of him had never been like this before. He actually didn't like those delicate and weak women at all. So he immediately rubbed his chin and looked at the woman in the group of demonic beasts with interest in his eyes. This woman was much more interesting than rumored. Lu Muyen had long known that people were approaching after Mo Yan's reminder, so Xue Xue had already been recollected by her, and Bing Ji had also returned to the appearance of a 7-colored parrot. When the strangers arrived, they were almost at the end of their slaughter. After all, Xue Xue's ability in group fights was simply too strong, and those demonic beasts had no resistance at all drained of blood essence by him. Lord Luo, should we go help? The sword masters of the other kingdoms who followed were also shocked by the scene in front of them, but seeing that there were still 100 or so demonic beasts that hadn't been killed yet, it also raised in them a feeling to rush in and snatch some killings. Luo Ye's expression was very light and indifferent, and he didn't have any intention to open his mouth to answer. The red-haired young man standing beside him turned his head to glance at the man, and said with ridicule, "Do you think they need help?" These people wanted to use his eldest brother to snatch the other party's demonic beasts. They were truly indulging in the wildest fantasy. The man shocked and seeing that Lord Luo had no intention of doing anything at all, he smiled in embarrassment, then stepped back and stopped talking, facing the red-haired young boy who's from a superpower kingdom, as well as Lord Luo's younger brother. He didn't dare provoke him at all. The red-haired young man snorted and turned his head to continue to watch Lu Muyan fight. A quarter of an hour later, the last 100 demonic beasts fell to the ground and died, and the corpses of demonic beasts surrounded Lu Muyan, who stood in the center, spreading 100 meters. Lu Muyan's technique was accurate, fast, and ruthless. Each time she killed, she headed straight towards the position of the demonic beast crystal core. So the crystal cores of the demonic beasts she had killed were all taken away. Yun Zmo and the others didn't have movement skills like her. So only after the group of beasts had all died did they start to clean up, while Xue Xue hid underground, stretching his vines to quietly suck blood essence. "Have you all seen enough?" Lu Muyan saw that the group didn't reveal any greedy actions of snatching from them after arriving. But after they finished watching the show, they still didn't leave, so she couldn't resist asking lightly. Luo Yi turned to look at her, and an ethereal and clear voice poured out from his lips. "Excuse us for disturbing, miss." Lu Muyan was dazed for a moment. She didn't expect the other party to be so polite. Most importantly, the other party's voice sounded so nice. One must know that she was a complete sound con too. She couldn't help but feel an uncontrollable closeness towards that kind of clean and nice voice. Also, because of the other person's voice, she developed an inexplicable favorable opinion for that handsome and unparalleled man opposite. When she raised her eyes to meet those pure crystal-like eyes, however, Lu Muyan was stunned. It sure was a pity that someone with such a nice voice was blind. She couldn't help but sigh slightly. No problem. She could see that the other party was blind, but she didn't know whether it was from birth or because of a disease. They were strangers that met by chance, so it was naturally impossible for her to take the initiative to inquire and treat him simply because the other party's voice was nice. "Why is Miss sighing?" Luo Ye's voice was gentle and slow, as clear as spring water. Lu Muyan glanced at him lightly and said, "Just feeling that it was a pity, so I sighed." "Pity what?" the red-haired young man asked curiously. Lu Muyan glanced at him, and her attitude took a big turn. "What does this have to do with you?" The young man was startled and didn't know whether to cry or laugh. How could this woman flip her face faster than flipping a book? Come true, one an idiom describing someone who's still young and inexperienced. Two people who like people whose voices sound really pleasing. This word takes its own spin from the word Meikong, sister complex aka siscon, that Lu Muyan's elder twin brother, Lu Muting, has lol. And the word kong is basically the loan word from Japanese. The one used here is shunkong. If you search this up, it actually means something like sound control, to do with music and sounds etc. But in this case, it's soundcon/complex. There's also appearance-con/complex, yin kong, which rather obviously means people who love good looks. Chapter 200. Returning to the city together, Lu Muyan's attitude towards the red-haired young man surprised the sword masters who followed. Wasn't this woman too bold? Didn't she know that offending the elite team of a superpower kingdom would make her miserable? "Do you have anything else?" Lu Muyan asked, looking at the red-haired young man. She didn't dislike this young man, but when she saw the interest in his eyes while he looked at her, her attitude became a little colder. Unexpectedly, the people behind these several people all revealed a look of "you're done for." And she knew right then that the identity of the red-haired young man and the blind man was definitely not simple. "You're Lu Muyan?" The red-haired young man didn't get angry because of her answer just now, and instead folded his arms around a purple longsword, saying with great interest, "By the way, let me introduce myself first. We're from Rongza Kingdom, and my name is Luoli." Lu Muyan smiled, polite and distant. "Lu Muyan of Yinzhou Kingdom. Pleasure to meet you." She had never felt ashamed of coming from a small kingdom like Yinzhou Kingdom. So when others proudly reported their kingdom's name, she wasn't outdone. "If there's nothing that's the matter, then we'll take our leave first. Goodbye everyone." Although Lu Muyan didn't know much about the kingdoms participating in the continental tournament for hegemony when she just arrived, but she had obtained a lot of useful information from the news she had recently inquired about in many cities. At least she knew that there was a total of 5 superpower kingdoms participating in this competition, including Rongza Kingdom, and this person they called Lord Luo from the superpower kingdom was also one of the top 3 favorites who could potentially take first place. The young man said his name was Luo Li, and he looked a bit similar to the blind man. So it wasn't difficult to deduce that the blind man was the legendary Lord Luo. Most importantly, judging from the current situation, apart from Luo Li, no one should know that his eyes were actually blind. What do superpower kingdoms and Lord Luo represent? Maybe in the eyes of others, it represented the object of flattery and people who couldn't be provoked. But to her, it meant trouble. "Are you going to enter the city?" Luo Li naturally heard Lu Muyan's meaning through her words. She didn't want to entangle with them too much. But it was precisely because of this that he thought she was even more interesting. Usually, whether in their own kingdom or in the competition space, which female sword master who saw them didn't cater to them or was happy to see them? Only this woman revealed a look as if they were trouble and distanced herself from them. It didn't look like she was pretending either. The sword masters behind Luo Li saw that this person named Lu Muyan from a small kingdom was so distanced and indifferent that they felt she was unable to appreciate someone's favors. Or she didn't know the background of Lord Luo and him at all. Otherwise they just didn't believe that she wouldn't flatter them. Or at least her attitude wouldn't dare to be so indifferent. Yes, Lu Muyan didn't deny it either. Luo Li's lips raised into an arc, handsome and sunny. "Let's go together. I just so happen to want to ask you a few questions." "You just came out and you're going back to the city?" Lu Muyan's eyes darkened as she asked with a light smile. "How did you know that we only just left the city?" Luo Li asked in confusion. When they came, no one said that they had just left the city. Did they possibly not look like they were coming out to hunt at night? How did she know? Lu Muyan replied with a smile. "There's a lot of frost and dew at night, but your clothes aren't stained with much dampness at all." Luo Li's eyes lit up. It seemed that this woman was also intelligent aside from being violent. But that was about right. If her limbs were developed, but her mind was simple, she wouldn't have been able to live until now. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. My eldest brother originally predicted that there would be a beast tide coming tonight. We waited for a long time but didn't even see a shadow of one. He then predicted that someone intercepted it ahead of time. So we came to see who blocked the beast tide we were waiting for. Luo Li didn't conceal the truth either, and spoke straightforwardly, wanting to see how Lu Muyan would react. A somewhat surprised look perfectly appeared on Lu Muyan's face, but she didn't have any awareness of having stolen other people's things. Beast tides were ownerless to begin with. Whoever killed them first got to earn the points first. So it turns out that the arrival of a beast tide can also be predicted. That sure is amazing. Lu Muyan smiled casually. "Let's go, didn't you want to go together?" She found that the other party didn't have any killing intent, and going together was nothing. She was indeed not afraid of any force, but she wasn't an idiot either who would deliberately offend people from superpower kingdoms. The young man had questions to ask her, and she naturally could also extract some useful information from the young man's mouth. After all, there wasn't much core information from Yinzhou Kingdom and the small refuge cities. Luo Li didn't expect her to be so refreshing all of a sudden again and nodded. "Sure. Luo Ye's eyes were indifferent and clean. His eyes couldn't see, but his heart was like a clear mirror. This woman had no ill intention towards Luo Li, and he also wasn't bothered to care about it either. He still somewhat appreciated her temperament and the strength she revealed. Yun Zmo and the others didn't have the disorderly feel when they dealt with beast tides at the beginning. Now they were not only experienced and highly proficient, but they also formed a regular set of patterns when dealing with demonic beast corpses, and were very fast. Hearing that Lu Muyen would return to the city with Rongzi Kingdom's sword masters, there was no objection, and they followed behind with different expressions. Lu Muyen, I heard that you all spend the day resting in the city and travel and earn points at night. Luo Li had been scoffing at the rumors he heard before, but after seeing the performance of the few people in the group of beasts today, he had to believe it. There are too few demonic beasts during the day, and the points increase too slowly. Lu Muyen replied. Luo Li took out a dark purple jade tablet and looked at the points rankings, then said with some confusion, your ranking is already in the top 50. Lu Muyen's face was indifferent, and there wasn't a trace of excitement or joy at all. Aren't you happy? In Luo Li's understanding, a small kingdom sword master should be very excited to have advanced into the top 50 in the first round. But why was this woman still so calm? As if she didn't care at all. Lu Muyen let out a soft laugh. Are you happy to be in the top 50? I don't think there's anything to be proud of. Her current ranking was 49th, which meant that there were 48 people still ahead of her, who she needed to surpass. There was nothing to be excited and proud of. She had long been trained to be calm and composed when facing honor or disgrace. So even if she advanced into the top 10 of the preliminary competition, she wouldn't feel that she was that great. There were mountains higher than other mountains. This was the experience she had gathered from countless dangers in the immortal cultivation world. Luo Li choked. This woman didn't look like a 16-year-old at all. He had only seen such calmness in very few people, and he became more and more interested in Lu Muyen. Do you often encounter beast tides at night? Not only did Luo Li care about this question, but other sword masters also raised their ears to listen. They were also very excited about the strategy of resting during the day and hunting at night to earn points. After all, seeing Lu Muyen advance to the top 50 from her initial 1000th in rankings on the standings, they all knew the benefits of traveling at night. But they were worried about encountering beast tides. If they encountered small beast tides, their team could still handle it, but if they encountered a medium-sized beast tide, it would be difficult to escape. And if they encountered a large-sized beast tide, then they could practically only wait for death. Otherwise, how do you think my points could advance so quickly? Lu Muyen asked instead. Seeing Lord Luo's expression was still the same, a coldness in his handsomeness as he walked in front. She then looked at Luo Li, who had an expression of interest and a sunny disposition. The two brothers' personalities sure were as different as heaven and earth. Chapter 201. The difficulty of entering the top 10. The night was dark, and a full moon hung in the sky as the evening wind blew lightly. After listening to Lu Muyen's words, Luo Li continued to ask, but have you never encountered a large beast tide? No. If we encountered a large beast tide, what you see right now might just be my corpse. Lu Muyen joked. Naturally, she wouldn't reveal Mo Yan's abilities. You guys are so lucky, Luo Li said with a smile. But most of the large beast tides gathering in the competition space are generally near the core city or larger cities. It's natural that you haven't encountered them before. The refuge city ahead is a large city, right? Lu Muyen asked. Luo Li nodded and reminded. After passing this city, I suggest you don't travel at night. On this road to the next large city, there will not only be frequent beast tides at night, but there may also be large-sized beast tides. Thank you for the reminder. Lu Muyen wasn't really afraid of large-sized beast tides. After all, she had the human-eating blood thorn vine king and the other spirit pets. She knew just how powerful they were at group killings. But large-sized beast tides were were generally led by Tier 7 demonic beasts, which were a little bit troublesome. However, if her cultivation base advanced to Sword Monarch, then she would have the ability to fight against Tier 7 demonic beasts and not lose. It seemed that it was still urgent to improve her strength. No need to be so polite. Luoli smiled. You have all been hunting and waiting for demonic beasts in the large city ahead to earn points? Lu Muyin began to ask instead. Luoli replied. Teams from many kingdoms who come to participate in the competition will stay in one city for a period of time before changing to another city. How long have you been at this city? It's been almost a month. We're going to chance cities in the next few days. The demonic beasts in the mountains nearby were all practically hunted by them. Plus there was the issue of time. So they should change. Is there anything we need to pay attention to if we want to stay in a city for a long time? Lu Muyin continued to ask. Just don't mess with large kingdoms that occupy the city. Generally, a large city would be occupied by the teams of large kingdoms, or a superpower kingdom. Sword masters from other kingdoms can enter, but if they dare to snatch and kill demonic beasts, their result is usually death. Luoli said, then don't all the points in the latter stage fall into the hands of the large kingdoms and superpower kingdoms? Not allowing other kingdoms to snatch and kill demonic beasts, then other kingdoms couldn't earn points at all. Luoli knew that Lu Muyin was from a small kingdom, so she didn't know a lot of rules. And since his impression of her was pretty good, he explained a little. Each time, the top 100 of the Tianling Continent Tournament for Hegemony are basically teams from large kingdoms and superpower kingdoms. It's particularly prominent in the first round of the competition. This is because everyone tacitly follows this sort of domineering and forceful principle, maintaining unified interests. Luoli bluntly told her. This was precisely the self-confidence that the people of superpower kingdoms were born with. He didn't intend to show off in front of Lu Muyin, only telling her a fact and law of survival. It's like this every time. There hasn't been a single small or medium-sized kingdom that broke through. Lu Muyin asked, remaining indifferent. Isn't not that there haven't been, but very rare. Every few tournaments, there'd be one or two dark horse teams who will appear and squeeze into the top 100. Luoli added. But since the start of the continental tournament for Hegemony, only 2 sword masters from medium and small kingdoms have entered the top 10 in the finals, but neither have ranked among the top 5. At this time, Lu Muyin also understood how difficult it was to be in the top 10 in every round of the competition. Their medium and small kingdoms weren't only facing one team from a large kingdom or superpower kingdom, but they had to face them all. However, being difficult didn't mean that she would shrink back. Her temperament had always been to grow more courageous the more she battled. The more challenging something was, the more motivation, and the more interesting it was, no? Are there alliances between medium and small-sized kingdoms? If there were tacit agreements between large kingdoms, then teams from small and medium kingdoms should also have alliances. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, Luoli replied with a smile. Naturally there is, but there are many small and medium-sized kingdoms who will choose to rely on the large kingdoms in the end to ensure that they won't be at the bottom of the final ranking sprint. What's your goal? Luoli just felt that she wouldn't limit herself to the 49th place. Lu Muyin's lips curled into a confident and dazzling smile. Top 10. Hearing her words, many sword masters revealed a look as if saying she had overrated herself. They didn't deny that this young girl's strength was indeed ranked in the upper reaches, but she was indulging in the wildest fantasy to want to compete with the elite teams of superpower kingdoms and large kingdoms. Luoye's footsteps paused, then continued to move forward. Their speed wasn't as fast as when they came, but it wasn't slow either. He didn't look down on Lu Muyin's goal or laugh at her for being overly ambitious. In his eyes, sword masters who didn't dare to think and didn't dare to do would never become one of the strong. Lu Muyin already possessed the temperament and ability that a strong person should possess. If there were no accidents, then she would certainly be the dark horse of this session. Then I wish you success. Luoli was startled, then a smile spread across his lips, and there was no contempt in his words. This woman truly dared to think. As someone who came from a superpower kingdom, he also had the thought of competing for the top 10. But the goal he had set for himself was only to advance into the top 20. He didn't feel Lu Muyan's thought was naive. One only dared to do if they dared to think it. On this point, the two brothers' thoughts were the same. Thank you. After chatting with Luo Li for so long, Lu Muyan's impression of him also became much better. This young man had a pure heart, but wasn't stupid, nor did he possess arrogance, or the hedonistic problems of considering everyone and everything beneath him. This was the upbringing and demeanor of a genius pupil raised in a distinguished clan of superpower kingdoms. The two chatted a little more, and Lu Muyan learnt of many unheard-of news from him, including the situation of the other 4 superpower kingdoms teams. Walking towards the front of the city, Lu Muyan saw many people standing on the city wall, their eyes all on her. She furrowed her brows and ignored it. It was probably because of the beast tide that they paid more attention to her. Well, go to the resting area to rest. Well, bid farewell now. Lu Muyan said with a smile to Luo Li after walking into the city. At this time, the inns wouldn't have any vacant rooms. Large cities might not even have any rooms available during the day either. All right. See you again. Luo Li could see that she didn't want to be with them, so he didn't keep them any longer. See you again. Luo Yi, who had been silent the entire time, looked up at Lu Muyan and said slowly, his voice like a spring breeze passing by, soft and gentle. Lu Muyan smiled and said, "See you again." After speaking, she, together with Yin Zmo and the others, went straight to the resting areas in the city. While she had her eyes closed, meditating to rest, many people stuck their heads over to observe them, and occasionally even quietly discussed a little. But they didn't dare be presumptuous, because they couldn't figure out their relationship with Lord Luo and his party. Muyan, do we need to change to traveling during the day tomorrow? Yin Lan asked. Lu Muyan arranged a soundproof array wherever she went. No need. Well, still travel at night. Seeing that they were puzzled, she continued. During the day, the places where the demonic beasts appear are all occupied by large kingdoms. It's not good for us to snatch it forcefully either. At night, with Mo Yen, large beast tides can naturally be avoided. We can only do that. Chapter 202. The killing intent of Shuling or the night was gradually replaced by day. Morning light scattered softly, and all the people in the resting area except Lu Muyan and her team went out hunting. This city was a large city, but it was still a lot smaller than the large cities in the central area. Rongza Kingdom, who controlled this city, weren't domineering either, so they didn't prevent sword masters from hunting demonic beasts nearby to earn points. Of course, after entering the central area, the large cities under the control of superpower kingdoms would no longer allow sword masters of small and medium-sized kingdoms to hunt. So sword masters gathered in this sort of large city the most. Although there was no one in the resting area, but it was still a public place after all, so they still found an inn to stay at. Yenner, you seem to have an unusual attitude towards that Lord Luo. Lu Mubai knew about little sister's disposition. She wouldn't pull a long face towards people she was unfamiliar with, but her attitude would also not be enthusiastic. But he felt that when she faced Lord Luo, she had a gentle expression on her face. Lu Muyan's eyes narrowed into a crescent moon shape as she smiled. There's indeed a difference. The other people looked at her one after another. Could it be that Lu Muyan took a fancy to that Lord Luo? That man's noble temperament could make many people feel ashamed of themselves. His appearance was unparalleled, not to mention his strength, peak phase sword monarch cultivation base. It would indeed be easy for Lu Muyan to fall in love at first sight with such a man. Yin Lan and Qi Yixian's eyes dulled slightly, and they were both a little depressed. The distance between them and her was getting larger and larger. Lu Muyan naturally understood what the few people were thinking and said with amusement, "What are you thinking? I just like his voice." She wasn't the kind of person who could fall in love with someone at first sight. When she first met Ming Xiao, she didn't feel her heart beat for him, though that guy's voice was very devilishly charming and magnetic, and was also very nice. It was also an important reason to why she was friendly to him at the beginning. Only after several encounters later, with Ming Xiu's rescues and him defending her, did he gradually leave traces in her heart. Now, she didn't deny that her heart moved for him, so she couldn't possibly be attracted to other men. Voice. The others were puzzled. I have a good impression of anyone with a clean and pleasant voice. It has nothing to do with the relationship between a man and a woman. She only had a good impression of Lord Luo. If she could become friends with him in the future, she would befriend him, but it was impossible for her to feel anything surpassing friendship with him. The few people couldn't resist twitching their eyelids. What kind of weird illness was this? So it turned out that Lu Muyen would also have such times of little willfulness. Then were their voices unpleasant? Don't you think that Lord Luo's voice is ethereal and clean, and very pleasant? Lu Muyen asked, blinking. The several people's impressions of Lord Luo didn't come from his voice, but after hearing Lu Muyen say this, in retrospect, the voice was indeed nice, like a flowing sweet spring, clear and translucent. Indeed it's nice, but we don't have such a hobby. Fu Chen shook his fan, filled with a bookish attitude. Oh, go wander around this city later. Let's leave at the same time in the evening. Lu Muyen smiled and said. They now had their own experience in killing medium-sized beast tides, so their elemental energy hadn't been completely exhausted and had been replenished last night. After lunch, the several people went shopping in the commercial street in the city. With their current cultivation base, they were capable of inedia, but they just wanted to have the atmosphere when eating. As expected, large cities were different. There were not only a lot of pill stores here, but also a spirit pet store. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, there were many demonic beasts in the competition space, and there were large forces stationed here, so they naturally could also go out of the city to hunt demonic beasts. Therefore, there were many spirit pets of tier 5 and 6 in the spirit pet store, but the price was much more expensive than outside. Lu Muyen went in and casually wandered around, but didn't buy anything. She had already helped each of her team members contract a tier 6 spirit pet when encountering medium-sized beast tides, so she naturally wouldn't waste money. Meanwhile, Yin Zmo and the others were shocked when they saw the price of tier 6 spirit pets. Even if their backgrounds were extremely well off back in Yanzhou Kingdom, but even for them personally, they wouldn't be able to take out this much money to buy it. Thinking of Lu Muyen's fussy and nonchalant attitude when she helped them contract a spirit pet each, they couldn't resist holding their foreheads. Did she know the value of tier 6 demonic beasts at the time? Put away those surprised looks in your eyes. Our goal is to catch a few tier 7 demonic beasts to contract as spirit pets. There seems to be quite a few tier 7 demonic beasts in this space. Lu Muyen's eyes were black and bright. The several people felt speechless. How was it that when she spoke of catching tier 7 demonic beasts, it was as if she just considered it as playing around? And seeing her look as if she was gearing up to do something eagerly, they all consciously stopped speaking of this matter for fear that she would take them to go block a large beast tide on a whim. After some shopping in the city, Lu Muyen bought several kinds of spiritual herbs for refining grade 3 pills. Although the price was very expensive, but she didn't feel as if her flesh hurt. These spiritual herbs could only grow in this competition space. They couldn't be bought even with money outside. And just after the several people walked out of the pill shop, at the end of the commercial street, several people were watching them leave. The look in the eyes of a woman was filled with dislike and hidden killing intent. Linger. That woman is that Lu Muyen who made a big show on the glacial mountain range. A man who wore fine and splendid robes held a folding fan, looking in the direction that Lu Muyen and the others were leaving in with interest in his eyes. Xue Linger retracted her gaze, with a soft smile on her face. She's precisely Lu Muyen. Not only did she seek the limelight in the glacial mountain range, but there are also voices everywhere discussing her in this competition space. There weren't many emotions that could be heard in her tone when speaking of Lu Muyen, but her words called out that woman as very restless, and someone who acted inappropriately. The first time she saw Lu Muyen, she hated her. This sort of hatred continued to deepen over time. A woman from a small kingdom being able to show off like this made her jealous, and also made a strong killing intent rise in her heart. Lu Muyan's growth was too fast, and the Shui clan and Ling clan had already reached the point of incompatibility like fire and water. She must take the opportunity to kill Lu Muyan this time. Otherwise she would definitely become a hidden danger to the Shui clan. Seeing the rare interest in the eyes of the seventh prince when he mentioned Lu Muyan, Shui Linger felt even more hate in her heart. Last time, that woman had attracted Yi Qinghan to speak to her so pleasantly, and now with only one glance, she could make this arrogant seventh prince show such an expression. She truly was a vixen. For someone with a deep background like the seventh prince, she also had her ideas. After all, the Shui clan's background and foundation was far inferior to his. If she could climb this big tree, her status in the Shui clan would definitely skyrocket and suppress that good eldest brother down. She clenched her fists and curbed her thoughts. Those men would only be interested in Lu Muyan for a short while. She had her own way of conquering men, and she was still very confident in her own charm. This time, she would not let go of the seventh prince from an elite team of a large kingdom that she was able to cling to. The woman you hate has already discovered us. Mo Yan's voice sounded in Lu Muyan's sea of consciousness. Lu Muyan's eyes were dyed with a bit of coldness as she smiled devilishly. We will have endless fun in the days to come. She had already discovered Shui Linger and her group just now, although her mental energy was still dormant, but her senses were still sharper than ordinary people. She naturally felt the killing intent from that woman. It seemed that without her attacking, that woman would still take the initiative to send herself to their door. Interesting. Bing Ji shuddered while standing on her shoulder. Owner was up to mischief again. Come true. Chapter 203, Love at First Sight? As night fell, Lu Muyan and the others set out from the city. When they left the city, they happened to meet Luo Li and the others who had just returned from hunting. Lu Muyan, you're still going to travel at night again? Luo Li furrowed his brows and asked after approaching them. He had already explained the situation with the beast tides to this woman. So how could they still choose to travel and hunt at night? Did they really want to die? Lu Muyan also knew that Luo Li was well-intentioned, so she smiled lightly and said, We're very lucky, so we shouldn't encounter a large beast tide. Tonight, there will be a large beast tide along the only path from this city to the next city. Luo Ye's voice sounded slowly. Did you divine that again? Lu Muyan asked. Luo Ye's handsome and clean face revealed a very shallow smile, giving people the feeling of a spring breeze. Yes, so you should stay in the refuge city tonight. The other people of Rongza Empire looked at Luo Yi a little inexplicably. Young Lord didn't seem like someone who liked to meddle in others' business. Lu Muyan lowered her eyes, making a pondering gesture, then raised her head and smiled sweetly. Thank you for your warning. But we are still going to continue on our way. You really want points to the point you don't want your life. Luo Li glared at her. Why was this woman so stubborn? Whether I want my life or not, you'll know when we meet again next time. Lu Muyan's bright eyes shone with dazzling brilliance, which made Luo Li dazed for a moment. He recovered in an instant, and his face was a little hot. This woman's eyes were so sparkling and so beautiful. Good luck to you all. Luo Yi smiled softly and stopped Luo Li, who still wanted to speak. Thank you. Lu Muyan nodded with a smile, gave Yun Zmo and the others a look, then headed straight out of the city gate. Luo Yi seemed to have a kind of divination and prediction ability. No wonder he had the ailment of blindness. If he wasn't born like this, then it might be due to a curse. Afterwards, her eyes lit up with burning fighting intent. She might be able to break through the peak phase Sword King bottleneck. Yenner, you want to go block the large beast tide? Lu Mu Bai was a little helpless towards the battle intent in little sister's eyes. How did she grow more and more interested in battling? As long as we kill a large beast tide, my points can advance into the top 30. Lu Muyan nodded. Fu Chen rubbed his chin and thought about it, then said, But with our abilities, even with your spirit pets, it'll still be difficult to kill a large-sized beast tide, right? It wasn't that he was afraid to die, but there just weren't any chances of success. Lu Muyin curled her lips. They will follow. They? Who? Fu Chen asked. You'll know when the time comes. Lu Muyin blinked. At the gate of the city, Luoli furrowed his brows and asked, Elder brother, does that woman and the others not want their lives anymore? How do you know they don't want their lives? Do you really think they relied on luck for so many nights? Luoyi replied calmly, You mean to say that they're specifically going for the beast tides? Luoli finally understood why Lu Muyan's eyes looked that scorching and bright. So it was because she heard that his elder brother had divined that a large-sized beast tide would appear. That's why she was so happy. But with just them, can they really block the beast tide? That woman wanted to fight the Tier 7 demonic beast leader, at only peak phase Sword King? Her brain must spasmed. And those men are letting her fool around. The more Luoli said, the more he felt that Lu Muyan and the others were going there to kill themselves. Why do you care so much about that Lu Muyan? Could it be that you fell for her? A baby-faced man standing behind Luoli patted him on the shoulder. You don't say, that woman is actually quite flavorful. This was the first time that he had seen such a tough woman, and it was much more pleasing to the eye than those who cried all day long and looked soft and weak. Luoli was dazed for a moment, then turned his head and glared at him fiercely. Don't speak nonsense. How could I like such a violent woman? Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, however. Lu Muyan's calm and composed figure, when killing demonic beasts, suddenly rose in his mind, as well as the appearance of her clever and beautiful smiles with those glistening eyes. His heart was slightly hot. Was this like? Shouldn't be. Tisk, look at you with your lovesick look. What else could it be but that you fell for her? The baby-faced man thought to himself when he saw his embarrassed expression. Luoli couldn't have really fallen in love with Lu Muyan, could he? Luoli snorted coldly. I'm too lazy to care about you. He was just interested in that woman. Love at first sight wouldn't happen to him. Yes, that must be it. Luoyi sighed slightly. It seemed that the love calamity that younger brother would have to endure should happen, because of Lu Muyan. His heart that had been as calm as water was now as if a stone was tossed in it. Should he stop it? Elder brother, why don't we follow and have a look? Luoli looked up, and saw that Lu Muyan and the others' figures had long disappeared into the night. He couldn't resist saying, I'm just curious how they can stop the large beast tide. Then he explained with a dry laugh. The baby-faced man winked and said with a smile, Explaining is concealing. Such a woman indeed made a man's heart move for her easily, especially a man like Luoli who was always being paid respects to by groups of delicate and gentle women, but in that regard, was still simple and had an obsession with cleanliness. It wasn't impossible to fall in love at first sight when suddenly meeting Lu Muyan, a strong woman with an independent and confident personality. Then let's go. Luoyi closed his eyes. Let everything take the natural course. The others didn't expect that Lord Luo would let Luoli do as he pleased, but he was the leader, so they wouldn't object to his decision. Elder brother. Luoli raised his head and looked at Luoyi. His elder brother usually wasn't one to like minding someone else's business, but today was a little different. Let's also go earn some points. Luoyi turned around and spoke slowly. There was a bright smile on Luoli's handsome, vibrant face. That's right. I'm only ranked 3 places higher than that woman right now, so I can't let myself be defeated by her. The several people who were about to enter the city stopped, turned around, and went out the city gate again. Lord Luo, are you leaving the city? He Lianlai asked as he walked over, looking at Luoyi with a smile. 7th Prince. Luoyi nodded lightly. He Lianlai didn't go out of the city to hunt today, but instead took Xue Linger and his team to stroll around the city, then went to a nearby waterfall with a beautiful scenery for a tour. He already saw Luoyi talking to a group of people earlier, and he saw the figure of a woman with them, who looked like Lu Muyan. It was just that the group left quickly. What surprised him was that Luoyi and his party not only stopped entering the city, but were also preparing to leave the city. He wondered if there were any secrets. You're leaving the city this late? Luoli saw that He Lianlai held a folding fan, wore splendid, creamy, moon-white brocade clothing, with a very carefree and suave attitude, which matched the legendary unrestrained and amorous seed he was known as. We still have something else to do, so we'll go first. His brows furrowed even more deeply. If they were any later, Lu Muyen and the others' figures wouldn't be able to be seen anymore. He Lianlai didn't want to just let the few people go like this. He stepped forward and said with a smile, "Lord Luo, if there's something good, why don't you call us together?" He was just testing a little. He came from the strongest kingdom in the eastern region, Dongshuan Kingdom, and their overall national strength was no weaker than that of the large kingdoms in the southern and northern regions. Although he couldn't match the foundation of a superpower kingdom, but he could still be considered equal in front of Luo Yi. "I divined that there will be a large beast tied in the south tonight, and am preparing to go. If you want to follow, I have no problem." Luo Yi's voice was very light, and there was a bit of coldness. After speaking, without waiting for He Lianlai to answer, he took Luo Li and the rest, leaping towards one direction, quickly disappearing in everyone's sight. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.